However, Belize is more, as it is home to the Belize Union Mission of Seventh-day Adventists. Formerly, the Belize Union of Churches, organized back in 2008 with 31,000 members, 75 congregations, and 30 companies. Today, the Belize Union Mission now rejoices for nearly 49,000 members, 106 churches, 32 companies, 20 primary schools, 5 secondary schools, 1 junior college, a hospital, and 1 clinic. These have been grouped into 3 local fields, namely the Central Belize Mission, the North Belize Mission, and the Southwest Belize Mission. No wonder the General Conference on October 13, 2019 accepted the recommendation of the Inter-American Division Executive Committee to effect a change of status from Union of Churches to Union Mission. Truly, we praise God for the leadership teams of the Union and local fields. Without a doubt, the Lord is at work in His church in the country of Belize. They are focus-driven and mission-minded. We praise God for the Belize Union Mission of Seventh-day Adventists.
La mgambo limelia Karatu ata peneti event 2022. Sikia. La mgambo likilia ujue kuna jambo, na hili ni jambo le.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is the beautiful country of Ghana. An interesting thing to know is that's where the Seventh-day Adventist message arrived, in that territory. Over 100 years ago, Pastor Kwame, please come forward. This is Pastor Kwame. He's the Northern Ghana Union President, and he is representing more than 200,000 members, 202,752 members. Isn't that amazing? So praise the Lord for that. They have more than 2,100 congregations and 10 local fields. We want to see your delegation, Pastor Kwame. Can they stand, please? I believe you have about 20. Can you stand? 20 delegates from Northern Ghana Union. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thank you, Pastor Kwame. And let's watch a video so you can know a little bit better about history of the church in that territory and how the church is organized for service there. Thank you.
Known as the gateway to Africa, Ghana, originally called Gold Coast, is the first African country to have gained independence from her British colonial masters. It's a West African country with a topography consisting mainly of low plains. Only a few degrees north of the equator, Ghana has a tropical climate and is bordered by Burkina Faso, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire. Ghana has 16 regions, 100 major and minor linguistic and cultural groups, with a nationwide population of 30,831,425 people. The Advent message touched the shores of Ghana through a pamphlet found by I.U. Dolphin in the year 1818. Before the close of the 19th century, the church was founded in Ghana by a team from the General Conference in Cape Coast in the central region of Ghana. The church grew and found her way into Agona in the Ashanti region in 1915 by the late William Lewis. Today, the Northern Ghana Union Conference of Adventists is headquartered in Kumasi in the Ashanti region with a total of 202,752 members, 10 major fields and 2 sub-fields within 9 of the major regions of Ghana. There are 6 conferences in Ashanti region. The oldest conference, which is Central Ghana Conference, was established in 1894 and it currently has 19,711 members. The South Central Ghana Conference, also in Ashanti region, was organized in 1999 and currently has 20,927 members. Ashanti Central Ghana Conference, organized in 2015, has a total of 20,021 members. Mid-Central Ghana Conference, organized in year 2015, has a total of 22,274 members. Mountain View Ghana Conference, also in Ashanti region, was organized in 2015 and has a total of 31,336 members. The Ashanti South Central, also in Ashanti region, has a total of 29,907 and was organized in 2015. Mid-North Ghana Conference oversees the work in Bono East region of Ghana. It was organized in year 2015 and has a total of 25,344 members. Greenview Ghana Conference also oversees the work in Ahafo region of Ghana. It was organized in 2015 and has a total of 8,003 members. Midwest Ghana Conference, organized in 1933, has a total of 18,349 members and oversees the work in Bono region of Ghana. North Ghana Mission, organized in 1968, has a total of 6,880 members. It also oversees the work in Upper East and the Upper West field units. The work stretches along these regions: Upper East region, Upper West region, Savannah region, Northern region, and Northeast region. To the glory of God, as at February 2022, the financial indicators of the Northern Ghana Union Conference of Adventists is above 100%. Ebenezer, thus far has the Lord brought us.
Exciting. Now, if you are following along on the agenda, you know that we have just completed items 111, 112, and 113. As we prepare to go to item 114 with Pastor Claude Richley taking us to the Netherlands, I want to remind the members of the nominating committee that you are to remain here with the body until the conclusion of these items pertaining to the unions. So please stay with us, and then I will have an announcement that will help to guide you when you leave. Pastor Richley, we're ready for you.
Madam Chair, you may remember that on October 6, 2016, at the annual council of the General Conference, we voted a change of status for the Netherlands Union Conference. For many years, the union had been operating as a union of conferences, but without having actual conferences functioning within its territory. The need was therefore felt that a commission be set up to inquire as to whether it was feasible to restart conferences or whether we should bring the union into compliance by setting it up as a union of churches. A survey commission visited the Netherlands in September 2016 and found much to commend. Among other things, its multiple initiatives in church planting and methodologies that correspond to its various constituencies in a very difficult secular environment, and an above-average growth rate in the region, particularly considering all the challenges of that environment. It also found that its initiative to make the union more responsive to the needs of the churches and more effective in connecting with its membership of over 6,000 members. Its status can be reviewed in the future with a view towards granting union conference status with the corresponding approval for the formation of conferences. But meanwhile, the General Conference Executive Committee voted to grant Union of Churches with conference status to the Netherlands Union Conference in the Trans-European Division, effective in May 2017. And this will replace the current Netherlands Union Conference and its constituent entities. The statutes have been changed to reflect that reality, and I am told by its president, Robert de Rad, that the new entity or the new status has enabled it to improve its standing, also among other things financially, but also in continuing on that growth curve that it has shown previously. And therefore, I would like to congratulate Pastor Robert de Rad for your new status, as well as greet the 4 delegates from the Netherlands, 2 who represent the field itself and 2 who are part of the Trans-European Division delegation.
Amen.
Thank you.
That was item 114. Now, Pastor Richley, looks like you are going to now take us to Malaysia for item 115.
Indeed. This is a very interesting story. The Southeast Asia Union Mission used to have its headquarters in Singapore, an extraordinary city which ranks among one of the wealthiest cities in the world. For some time, the question had been asked, should the church headquarters not move to another location with a lower cost of living? At the 2016 year-end Executive Committee of the Southern Asia Pacific Division, an action was taken that resolved to appoint a feasibility study commission to visit and carefully analyze the territory of SAUM and to make recommendations to the Southern Asia Pacific Division Committee of 2017 mid-year to provide the best strategies for strengthening and building the mission and evangelism in this territory. Part of its preamble is the fact that its union territory covers 222 million people in 7 different countries, 669 people groups who speak 503 distinct languages, and that most of the major world religions are well represented within its territory. Therefore, the Feasibility Study Committee met in Bangkok in October 2017 and made the recommendation to move the headquarters and the personnel to Thailand and to use, and I quote, some of the savings to create at least a couple of leadership positions to grow the Indo-China leadership and give more emphasis to the needs of the Buddhist majority countries. However, this did not entirely solve the problem posed by the fact that the region encompasses 3 very different cultures. One is dominated by secularism, as in Singapore, another one by Buddhism, and a third one by Islam. Moving the headquarters would save some money, but the issue of focus and of cultural challenge was not being properly addressed. And so the idea was floated that perhaps the church does not need a relocation, but a reorganization. And that idea slowly matured in the course of 2018 and 19 to the point where in July 2019, another meeting of the Commission was held in Bangkok. This time it determined that by moving out of Singapore, it could operate 2 unions for the price of 1 and have more resources available for a more focused mission in its territory. 1 union would be located in Thailand and the other one in Malaysia. And so, over the course of time, assets were peacefully divvied up between these entities in the year 2021, while new headquarters were built in Muaklek, close to our university, Asia Pacific International University, formerly known as Mission College.
Tulikuwa union moja, lakini baadaye union moja ikaza union mbili, union ya kaskazini na union ya kusini mwa Tanzania. Kwa mtazamaji ambaye sio Waadventista, ni kufahamisha tu ya kwamba tukisema union katika ulimwengu wa Waadventista Sabato ni sana kusema jimbo kuu kwa baadhi ya waliozoea neno hilo.
We now have the Southeastern Union Mission covering the territories of Vietnam, Laos,
Southern Eastern Asian Union Mission inaitwa SEUM. Itakuwa na field 4, ni majimbo madogo hayo, makanisa 82, makundi 289 na waumini wapatao 36,582. Alafu ile ya Malaysia ambayo itakuwa ina nchi mbili na visiwa kadhaa hapo, ikiwemo Brunei, Malaysia. Hii mpya yenyewe ina mission 3
and 60,579
ina makanisa 34, makundi 505 na waumini 60,579.
Covering a full 5 years, but it ended in a good and happy place. I am therefore pleased to congratulate.
Kwa hivyo unapoona kwamba Union Mission zimezaliwa ama Union Conference zimezaliwa, kwa maana nyingine tafsiri yake ni kwamba kazi ya Mungu imekuwa. Unaweza kuona kwamba waumini ni wachache kule Asia, lakini ukweli ni kwamba pamoja na uchache wao, nguvu yao ya kiuchumi ni kubwa, ndio maana wanaweza kumudu kuwa na majimbo mengine makuu. Sababu hali ya uchumi na ruhusu, lakini pia inafanyika hivyo ili kufanya kazi iweze kwenda kwa nguvu zaidi, kwa sababu ukiwa na eneo kubwa la kulihudumia unaweza kushindwa kulihudumia vizuri, lakini ukiwa na eneo dogo unaweza kulihudumia vizuri zaidi. Na nikukumbushe tu mpendwa mtazamaji kwamba kule Asia kuna dini ambazo zimekita mizizi, kwa hivyo si rahisi sana kuweza kupata waumini wengi kwa haraka. Sasa baada ya hao tuangalie Ethiopia, na yenyewe iligawanywa hii. Anayetupeleka huko ni Karen Porter. Huyu ni katibu mwenza wa General Conference.
Has reorganized into the Eastern Ethiopia Union Mission and the Western Ethiopia Union Mission. The rationale for this is threefold. Ethiopia has 110 million population with
Ethiopia kwa pamoja ina wakazi milioni 1.110, na kati ya hao watu wawili wapo katikati ya watu 174 ambao hawajafikiwa na imani yetu. Kwa hivyo unaweza kuona mtu mmoja anahudumia watu wengi sana. Kama ufahamuvyo, nchi nyingi za Afrika zina changamoto ya miundombinu pia, kwa hivyo inafanya kazi inakuwa ni ngumu. Viongozi kusafiri katika nchi ile kubwa inakuwa ni changamoto. Kwa hivyo mwaka 2019 mwezi wa Novemba tarehe 17 ilipitishwa ya kwamba nchi hii iweze kugawanywa na kuwa na majimbo mawili, jimbo la Mashariki na jimbo la Magharibi. Kwa hiyo jimbo la Mashariki litakuwa na majimbo madogo, jimbo kuu litakuwa na majimbo madogo kama yanavyoonekana hapo.
As shown on the screen. There they are.
Na hao ndio viongozi wa jimbo kuu la Mashariki mwa Ethiopia.
Is in Nekemte. It has 4 fields,
na lile la magharibi makao yake makuu itakuwa Mkutano kama unavyoona, na itakuwa na majimbo madogo 4, makanisa 171, makundi 94 na waumini wapatao 114,089. Hili ni jimbo kuu la magharibi mwa Ethiopia, na hao ndio viongozi wake wakuu kama unavyowaona hapo, mwenyekiti, katibu na mhazini.
Pastor Negash Petros, who is the secretary of the Eastern Ethiopian Union, and Pastor Geramo Biru Daka, the president of the Western Ethiopia fields. Please, gentlemen, come.
Kwa hivyo wanaitwa kuweza kutambulishwa viongozi hao. Kumbuka pale awali majimbo haya makuu yalipokewa katika moja wa majimbo makuu ya kanisa hili ulimwenguni. Sasa viongozi wanatambulishwa waweze kufahamika kwa hayo majimbo, na wajumbe wao pia wanasimamishwa. Ngoja tuone. Naam, unaweza kuona wakipunga mkono wajumbe hao kutoka Ethiopia Mashariki, na sasa wale wa magharibi nao wanasimamishwa. Wamesimama, mmoja hapo, huyo hapo. Basi hao ndio viongozi wa kanisa huko Ethiopia.
This brings us to the end of the 10 new unions that we have presented today. These 10 reorganized unions, we did this morning vote, but we want to embrace them as part of the sisterhood of churches.
While you're at the microphone, why don't we have everyone stand just to stretch and express our
Mwenyekiti wa kikao kwa wakati huu
welcome once more,
anaitwa
and
Ella
will you
Simon,
offer a brief prayer as we
ambaye
celebrate their
ni
entry?
mwenyekiti mwenza, msaidizi wa mwenyekiti wa kanisa hili la Wasabato ulimwenguni.
Let's pray together. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you and we rejoice together that our work has expanded, that we can welcome and embrace 10 new unions and fields to our sisterhood of unions. Lord, this is a miracle that you have worked. But Lord, we also know that there is so much more to do. And we ask for your blessing that we can continue to expand and multiply. Thank you, Lord, for your graciousness in allowing these entities to accept the challenge of mission in their territories. Thank you, Lord. We praise your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you to each one of you from Secretariat who has presented one of these entities. Now we're going to switch gears just a little. This item, number 117, still pertains to union status, but we're going in another direction. Before we do that, I want to just take a moment again to remind you of the sacred trust that you hold in your hand, that is your vote. It is important that you participate. Some may think, oh, my one vote will not matter, it will not count. Every vote counts. I think we heard some of that discussion this morning when you were unable to cast your vote. So I will trust that each one will have the capacity and will have the technology that is working properly so that you can cast your vote on this next item that is coming up. So please have your devices ready. We're going to give you a moment. Please have the devices ready. Make sure that you are online and prepared. This will not be a lengthy item. We trust that there will not be a lot of discussion. However, if there is discussion on this item, I want to remind you of the, I'll say the 2 to 3 minute allocation of time that was structured into the process this morning. It appeared to work for each one, even for those who are getting translation. And we're careful to watch out for translation because some languages require a little more time than others. But so far, so good. So in this afternoon session, we're going to stick to that 2 to 3 minute allocation of time for speeches. If you desire to speak, please do not feel that this means you must speak, right? Only if there is a need. So with this, we are going to move in that direction. And I believe, Sister Karen, you have an item for the Trans-Caucasus Union of Churches mission. I'll allow you to just introduce that and lead us in the direction.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ajenda inayofuata inahusu
all of our eyes have been turned towards the Euro-Asia division in these last months. We are not going to talk about Ukraine today, but we are going to talk about the Trans-Caucasus Union of Churches mission. If you're familiar with that territory, you know that it is a very challenging area in the division. This comprises of 3 countries, Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. The Euro-Asia Division officers and team is committed to developing the pastoral and administrative resources of these countries. To give this territory the special attention that it needs, the Euro-Asia Division has attached Georgia and Armenia directly to the division as fields. They are known as the Georgia field and the Armenia field. Azerbaijan has already been added to the Caucasus Union mission. So, Madam Chair, I move that we recognize and record the dissolution of the former Trans-Caucasus Union of Churches mission in the Euro-Asia Division, effective January 1, 2021.
Okay, we have the motion before us, and I heard the support, the second. All right, we'll give a moment. Are there questions or comments pertaining to this item?
Na imeungwa mkono. Kwa hivyo wajumbe wana
We see no one at the microphones.
Baada ya mjadala.
At the stations.
Ulizo ambaye nataka kuchangia kwanza.
To the question. You will need to get your devices out. We are ready
for sababu hakuna aliye tayari kuchangia, basi wanakwenda kwenye kupiga kura, na hoja ni kwamba ikubaliwe ya kwamba iliyokuwa Union ya Trans-Caucasus katika division ya Euro-Asia basi iweze kufutwa kwa sababu eneo hilo limepangwa upya.
No, if you are against it. So please use your election buddy, and let's go for everyone voting.
Madam Chair, the vote is open. I believe we're going to allow for 3 minutes on this to count down.
Wajumbe wanakwenda kupiga kura kukubali au kutokubali kufutwa kwa hiyo hadhi ya umoja mission ya umoja wa makanisa ya Trans-Caucasus. Kimsingi kukataa sio rahisi kwa sababu tayari mabadiliko yashafanyika na majimbo yote yaliyo katika eneo hilo yamepangwa upya. Kwa hivyo tunaondoa hiki kitu kwa sababu hakipo kiuhalisia kwa jina hilo, japo maeneo yale yapo kwa majina mengine katika division na katika union nyingine ambapo utendaji kazi unaendelea.
I will remind each one after you hit the item, after you touch the screen for the item, and then the ballot comes up and you vote yes or no, then remember to submit. Please submit your vote. Your vote is not registered until you submit. So please submit.
Jumba kwa maelekezo namna ya kupiga kura.
Chair, are you curious as to where we're at?
I'm very curious.
1,220 people have voted, but there's still quite a few that are trying to vote.
Excellent. Those who are still trying, remember to submit. And we have about 1 minute, 30 seconds nearly. We are about ready. This is the last item that pertains to the union structures. So I'm going to ask the members of the nominating committee to prepare to leave. After we receive the results of this vote, we're going to ask you to prepare to
anawajulisha wajumbe wa ile kamati ya uchaguzi ya kwamba hii ni ajenda ya mwisho kuhusiana na mabadiliko ya majimbo, na baada tu ya kupata matokeo ya kura ambayo imepigwa hivi sasa, basi wajumbe wa kamati ya uchaguzi watatoka kwenda kuanza zoezi la uchaguzi. Kumbuka, mojawapo kati ya ajenda kuu na muhimu katika mkutano huu, mpendwa mtazamaji, ni uchaguzi wa viongozi wa kanisa katika ngazi hii ya mkutano mkuu wa kanisa ulimwenguni pamoja na kanda zake, yani division. Kwa hivyo mara tu baada ya kupata matokeo haya ya kura hii, wale wajumbe wa kamati ya uchaguzi watatoka wao kwa ajili ya kwenda kuanza mchakato wa uchaguzi.
At 1500, I think that's really good, but you know I want more.
Well, Madam Chair, I think we may get over it here just a little bit. Well, our 3 minutes have expired. Why don't we just give it a couple more seconds?
Just a few seconds.
Yeah.
We're just getting back from
zinaongezwa
lunch,
ili
just
watu
finding those
waweze
devices and getting set up
kupiga
again.
kura vizuri.
I believe nominating committee members are beginning to make your way forward. You will be going to nominating committee room 130.
Nilikwambia pale awali kwamba miongoni mwa wajumbe wa kamati hii ya uchaguzi ni pamoja na wenye viti wa majimbo makuu ya Tanzania, mchungaji Mark wa Marekana pamoja na mchungaji Gordon Lekundayo, ambao nao wameteuliwa kuingia katika kamati hiyo ya uchaguzi. Kwa hivyo wanatoka na kwenda kuanza kazi yao mara tu baada ya zoezi hili. Upigaji kura unafungwa na muda si mrefu tutapata matokeo yake. Tuone kanisa limeamua nini kwa pamoja kuhusiana na hoja iliyokuwa mbele. Kura ni hizo hapo kama unavyoziona mtazamaji. Waliokuafiki ni watu 1126, asilimia 99.6 ya wajumbe, na waliokataa ni watu 7 ambao ni na asilimia 0.4. Kwa hivyo ile mission, umoja wa kimisheni wa makanisa ya kule Transcaucasian umefutwa rasmi. Jina hilo halitakuwepo tena. Yale maeneo na majimbo yatakwenda kuwepo kama ilivyogawanywa. Kamati inaelekezwa kukutana katika chumba namba 130 kwa ajili ya kazi hiyo ambayo imepangwa kufanyika kwa uchaguzi.
With this, we are moving into another section of the agenda.
Wakati wao wakienda, basi hapa mkutano unaendelea na hoja zinaendelea kujadiliwa.
That we make changes to the church's constitution and bylaws and to the church manual.
Mojawapo kati ya majukumu ya mkutano huu mkuu ni kubadilisha kanuni na taratibu za kanisa hili. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa na hoja hiyo pia.
Not ever. There is a lengthy process through which each item must pass for preparation, presentation, structure and restructure, analysis.
Mchungaji Musa Mitekaro ni Mtanzania mwingine ambaye atakuwa mjumbe wa kamati hii ya uchaguzi. Kumbuka yeye ni kiongozi katika division hii. Division kwa mtazamaji ambaye ni Waadventista ni kanda ambayo iko chini ya makao makuu ya kanisa. Kwa hivyo yeye Musa Mitekaro katika kanda ya mashariki na kati mwa Afrika. Mwenyekiti anajaribu kufanua kuhusiana na kazi iliyoko mbele ya kubadilisha kanuni na taratibu nyingine za kanisa, ya kwamba kimsingi huwa haitokei tu mtu anakuja tu na kubadilisha. Kuna mchakato mrefu, watu hujadili kwa muda mrefu hadi kufikia hatua kutoa mapendekezo ambayo yanaletwa leo hii kwa mkutano mkuu wa kanisa, ili mkutano mkuu wa kanisa uweze kufanya uamuzi ikiwa unaafiki mapendekezo ya kubadilishwa kwa vipengele fulani vya mwongozo wa kanisa au la. Kwa hivyo leo kutakuwa na hoja hiyo ambayo naenda kujadili muda si mrefu.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Since this morning, you have heard more than once that only at session can we amend the Constitution and bylaws, the Church Manual, and the fundamental beliefs. This afternoon, my colleague Pastor Jason Santos and myself, we will begin this marathon with you. I will be presenting the recommendations on amendments to the Constitution and bylaws. And we will alternate. Even today, this afternoon, we would like to start begin the process of sharing with you the amendments to the Church Manual. Now, before I even begin with the recommendations that came from Annual Council to the floor here, I just want, Madam Chair and esteemed delegates, I just want all of us to understand what role do these policies, processes, and protocols they play in the administration of our church. So as an introduction to this marathon that will deal with Constitution and bylaws item, I would need your attention because I would like to share with you how I see mission. I see mission as a coin with two faces. On one side of the coin, I call it the missionary face of mission. What I mean here, Madam Chair, is this is where we preach. This is where a local church elder gives Bible studies. This is where a local church pastor preaches the word of God powerfully. This is where Hope Channel, AWR, and all the ministries of our church are involved in preaching the word. That's the missionary face of mission. They preach the word so that even if we are sleeping, the three angels' messages are still preached because they're on the radio, they're on Hope Channel and the other channels that we have. So that's the missionary face of mission. Are we together? That's wonderful. Let's flip the coin. When you flip the coin, you will have the administrative phase, the organizational phase. This is where we deal with policies, protocols, processes, systems, but they are not just mere administrative matters. They are not just sheer policies and constitutions and bylaws items. This is the other side of the same coin that deals with mission. Are you with me?
Kwa maana nyingine ni kwamba kanisa lipo kwa ajili ya utume, lakini lina pande mbili. Upande mmoja ni uinjilisti, upande mwingine unahusu uongozi, sera na utawala na vitu vingine hivyo. Vyote hivi vikitengeneza sarafu moja. Hakuna sarafu ambayo ni upande mmoja, kila sarafu na pande mbili. Na ndivyo ambavyo pia kanisa lilivyo. Ndicho ambacho najaribu kufanua hapa. Kwa maana hiyo, sera zinapoandikwa, maanake ni kwamba ni upande mwingine wa utume unatengenezwa. Zinatumika kuhakikisha ya kwamba utume, uinjilisti unakwenda vizuri. Hivi viwili vinategemeana.
They are here to serve mission. They are not here to complicate mission, but to facilitate
Sera
mission.
hazipo
So
kwa
each
ajili
time
ya
I will
kufanya
come to
utume
you
uwe
and
mgumu, uwe jambo
present an
gumu
item
kutekelezeka,
that
isipokuwa
relates to
lengo lake
constitution and
ni
bylaws
kurahisisha
or is
utendaji wa
policy
kazi na
related.
kufanya kazi
Just
uende kwenda
remember
vizuri
that I'm
kabisa
presenting to you the
pasipo
other
tabu.
face of mission, because I
Kumbuka mpendwa
believe,
mtazamaji, Mungu
esteemed delegates,
anasema yeye ni
that
Mungu wa
our
utaratibu,
church
na ndio maana
can
kuna
be
sera,
the best
kanuni na
run
miongozo ili
organization,
kuweza
and our
kusimamia kazi
pursuit
yake
of
iende
excellence
kwa utaratibu.
is simply because that's the nature of everything that God does. Am I right?
Na hiyo ndiyo kanuni
So,
ya yote ambayo
this
Mungu
is
huyafanya.
what I
Mungu ni
want
Mungu
to
wa
share
utaratibu.
with you, the
Kwa
two
hivyo
sides.
katibu alikuwa
Now,
anajaribu
you will
kuwakumbusha
often
wajumbe
hear that I allude to
kuhusiana na pande mbili za
constitution and
utume.
bylaws.
Pande moja ni
But
uinjilisti,
what are constitution
pande
and
mwingine
bylaws?
ni
I
sera,
want us, to
mfumo,
have this
muundo
clarified,
na
because you will
kadhalika
hear
kwa
from
ajili
me
ya
a couple
kufanikisha
times on these
uinjilisti na kazi
matters.
ya Mungu.
I will use an analogy taken from
Anajaribu
the building of
kutumia
a house.
kielezo
Obviously,
cha
I will not
jengo la
ever
nyumba
pretend that I'm a
kuelezea kuhusiana
builder,
na
right?
katiba na
But
kanuni
my
ndogo ndogo.
analogy will be taken from a house. What are constitutions? So let me take to you to the constitution. I see the constitution as the framework
Katiba ni
of
nini?
the
Anajaribu
house.
kuelezea maana
Right? We are
katiba.
building
Kwa
a
anasema
house together. The
unapojenga
constitutions,
nyumba,
they are the
katiba
framework, the structure of the
inaweza
house.
ikafananishwa
If you are
na ule
building
muundo
a roof, this
wa
will be the
nyumba.
structure, the framework. That's the constitution. This is where we talk of the name of that organization. We talk about the purpose of
Katika
this
katiba tunazungumza
organization.
kuhusiana na
We
jina
talk
la
about the
taasisi,
territory of this
kuhusiana
organization.
na
We
eneo
talk
lake,
about
mipaka yake,
session. How
kuhusiana na
would this
namna ya
organization
kufanya
convene a
uchaguzi.
session? So you see, that's the structure.
Huo ndio muundo,
And you will talk
muundo
about the
wa
executive
shirika au
committee of that
taasisi.
organization. So
Kamati zake
literally,
tendaji
we are talking
ziweje.
about the structure of the
Kwa tunapozungumzia
organization.
katiba,
And if I were to
tunazungumzia
remain
muundo
in my metaphor
wa
of the house,
shirika, na
the
katika
bylaws
muktadha
are
huu
the
shirika
dry
linalozungumzwa hapa ni
walls.
kanisa.
Now that you have the
Sasa
structure,
kuhusiana na
you can start
kanuni ndogo
building.
ndogo,
So the constitution, that's the structure, the framework. The bylaws, in this instance, it will be the dry
kanuni ndogo
walls.
ndogo
And if you are
zinaweza
putting the roof, it will
kufananishwa
be the
na zile
tiles.
kazi
So the,
za kuifanya
both
nyumba
will
ipendeze
help
zaidi,
the structure, the
kazi za
organization to
kupiga
hold.
ripu,
So let me give you an
kazi za
example, and I think
kupaua,
after that, when I'm chair, we should be
upakaji wa
ready
rangi.
to
Hizo
delve
zinaweza
into
kufananishwa na
these
kanuni ndogo
policies,
ndogo,
these items from
kwamba
constitution and
nyumba
bylaws,
ukiijenga
and with the help of my
alafu
sister Sherry
usipaue,
here,
usipake
we
rangi,
want to give you
usisakafie,
a good
basi
experience
ndio
of
itakuwa nyumba,
going
lakini
through
haitakuwa na
this
mvuto
together.
mzuri,
She will
ila
show you
ukishafanya hivi
exactly where you
basi
can
napendeza.
find it
Sasa
in your
ule
agenda packet.
shughuli ile ya
No
ujenzi
worry.
ni sawa
We
na
want you to
kuwa na
understand
katiba,
every single item of
alafu hii
business
nyingine ya
that we will
kupaua,
vote when it
kusakafia,
comes to the
kupiga ripu
constitution
na kadhalika,
and
inafananishwa na
bylaws.
kuwa
So
na kanuni
let me
ndogo
take
ndogo.
you to what the constitution, our governing document, says about itself. The constitution or its
Katiba ya
bylaws
Kanisa
may
la
be
Wasabato
amended
inasema
by a
hivi
2/3
katika
majority vote of the delegates present and
kifungu cha
voting
14
at
inasema
any
katiba
session.
hii au kanuni
So that's
zake
what
ndogo
our
zinaweza
governing
kurekebishwa
document
tu
says about
kwa
where and
theluthi
how
mbili ya kura
amendments
za wajumbe
can be
watakaokuwepo
made to the
katika
constitution and
mkutano
bylaws
mkuu
of
wa
the
kanisa.
general
Ndio huu
conference.
sasa.
Now,
Kwa
I
hivyo
want you,
kwa
esteemed
theluthi mbili
delegates, each time you
na
listen
zaidi
to me
ya
presenting on
wajumbe,
constitution and
mapendekezo
bylaws,
yanayoletwa hapa
I
leo
want you to
yanaweza
wear the
kubadilishwa.
glasses of mission. I
Na
want you to see these
Katibu anawaelekeza wajumbe ya kwamba wanapoenda kufanya uamuzi katika vipengele hivi ni vizuri wakavaa miwani ya utume ili waweze kuona utume kwa karibu wanapofanya uamuzi wa kubadilisha katiba ya kanisa na kanuni zake ndogo ndogo.
So if you want to see St. Louis, please, when I speak to you about constitution and bylaws, always wear your mission lenses. Read these items with mission in mind, because when I am involved in dealing with them, That's what I do. My office deals with policies, constitution and bylaws, always with mission in mind. How can this facilitate mission? How can it be a vehicle that takes mission from point A to point B? This is how my office
ni kuwezesha
does
utume. Kwa
mission.
hivyo wanazidi
So
kuwasisitizia wajumbe
friends, I
kwamba
think now we are ready.
wakati wa kufanya
I
maamuzi,
will rely on
wakati wa
my sister
kusoma, wakati
Sherry
wa
Ingram
kujadili,
Hudgens. She will
vaa
play an
miwani
important role
ya
in helping
kiutume
me
ili uweze kuona
ensure that
vizuri
you
utume
understand
katika sera
everything
na
that
kanuni
I am
ambazo
planning to
tunakwenda
share with you. So on
kuzijadili
your screen now,
hapa.
you
Kwa
should
hivyo unaweza
have
ukaona
the
mapendekezo ya hizo sera
agenda
ambazo
of our
zinapaswa kufanywa
Constitution
kazi
and
leo hii.
bylaws item.
Mpendwa mtazamaji.
Excellent. Now I can see it in front of me. Perfect. Now, you can see here on top you have the daily program, the general agenda. The blue button, you have the Constitution and bylaws. You have a list of committees and then church manual. I told you already ahead of time that my colleague, Pastor Gerson Santos, I see him here already. He will deal with church manual items. Now, let's go to item number 1 on the agenda. In this instance, it is item 201. Let me take a few seconds, Madam Chair, because you have alluded to this. I am not planning to reveal to you all the secrets of secretariat. You know, the word secretariat has the word secret in it, right? When you have a secret, you need to know when to reveal the secret, right? So secretariat deals with secret. Now let me reveal to you a little secret of secretariat. If you look on top, you will find the routing line. You remember Madam Chair telling us, oh, this is not something that Hensley just wrote, you know, out of thin air. No, it tells you all the committees this item has gone to. Thank you. So this has gone to the Secretariat, to the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. It has gone to ADCOM. It has gone to GCDO. It has gone to Annual Council. It has gone through all these committees. And today we are now bringing these recommendations to you.
Ajenda hii inayoletwa mbele ya wajumbe wakati huu ilivyoweza kuchakatwa, kwamba imepitia vikao vingi. Ilianza kufanyiwa kazi na mwaka 2017 na hadi kufikia sasa mwaka 2022 inaletwa katika mkutano huu mkuu wa kanisa kwa ajili ya kufanyiwa uamuzi. Kwa hivyo mchakato wa kubadilisha katiba, kanuni ndogo ndogo za kanisa si mchakato wa usiku mmoja ambao unalala unaamka imeshabadilishwa. La, ni mchakato mrefu sana, ni mchakato mrefu sana. Unapita katika hatua mbalimbali hata kufikia mahala pa kuweza kufika katika mkutano mkuu wa kanisa.
I just want to draw attention to the fact that we're going to take 3 items in this cluster, so that everyone will follow. And you can decide how you would like to take questions if there are any.
Of course. Remember this morning we said that your responsibility is to be informed, to read, to listen, to ask questions. You are perfectly right. We will work with what Madam Chair has said. I will present these 3 items because they are mostly editorial in nature. But remember, these are not just mere editorial items. They bring clarity for the sake of bringing stability so that the church can be involved in mission. Now, what is the first editorial recommendation that we are bringing to the floor? You can read on line 18 that we needed to include here, just for the sake of being abundantly clear, which executive committee are we mentioning? So this editorial amendment clarifies that the General Conference Executive Committee is the body that approves recommendations from divisions regarding their representation on the committee. So people were asking, yes, but in your document here, it does not say which executive committee does that. So just to be sure that we are on the same wavelength, we are recommending the inclusion here of General conference, so that it is clear for all of us that we have no other body in mind than the General Conference Executive Committee. That's the first item that we want to bring to your attention. Is it the pleasure of the chair for me to move to the second one, because 1, 2, and 3 are editorial in nature? Is it your pleasure, Madam Chair?
Yes, it is. Please move.
Let's go to the second item of business. This editorial amends, seeks to alphabetize the names of the department. If you scroll down a little bit again, you will see something. So this department was Trust Services before. What was the name? Trust Services. Because we put things in an orderly way, we abide by the alphabetical order of departments. So it was T for Trust Services. But later on, it became Plan Giving and Trust Services. So all of a sudden, it does not follow the T anymore, but the P. So in order to bring clarity and harmony in our governing document, we are bringing a recommendation to change the placement of the department, because now it has a new name, Plan Giving and Trust Services. I have moved the first one, I am moving the second one, and this brings me to the third editorial item for this first section that we have lumped together because they are of the same nature. What we are doing here, in our governing document, we use the terminology of telephone conference. That's what is alluded to in the document, to conduct meeting with telephone conference. But you know that nowadays we have more than just telephone. So we are seeking permission from the body to ensure that we can amend the GC constitution and bylaws where appropriate, to delete telephone conference and replace it with electronic conference, so that we have more room to operate. It does not have to be telephone, it can be Zoom, it can be
unaweza ukashtakiwa kwamba umevunja katiba. Kwa hivyo ili kuwaweka salama watendaji, neno mkutano wa simu linaondolewa na katiba liondolewe na liweke neno kwa kutumia mkutano wa kielektroniki. Sasa ukishakuwa mkutano wa kielektroniki, unaweza kutumia hata kompyuta ama njia nyingine yote ile na ukawa uko salama. Kwa hiyo hoja zimewasilishwa, zimeungwa mkono. Basi angalia kama kuna majadiliano. Ikiwa hakuna, basi watasonga mbele.
Okay, we're scanning, and Brother Hensley, I do not see anyone at the microphone. You have done an excellent job of explaining, and everyone has done homework. So we know we are ready. With that, all right, Brother Todd, will you take us to Election Buddy?
Sure, Madam Chair. This will come as a single ballot to vote all three of these items. It should be opened up here momentarily, Madam Chair.
Mapendekezo yanapokewa au la. Mapendekezo matatu kubadilisha vifungu hivyo vitatu vya katiba na kanuni ndogo za kanisa. Nipende tukujulisha kwamba mara baada ya mkutano huu mkuu, mamlaka za kanisa zinazohusika zitatoa taarifa kamili ya kile ambacho kimefanyika, sababu kuna baadhi ya mambo unaweza ukayatafsiri haraka haraka kwamba yako hivi, kumbe hayako hivyo. Kwa hivyo baada ya mkutano huu, mamlaka zinazohusika hasa kwa masuala haya ya kikanuni ambayo ni masuala ya kisheria pia zitatoa ufafanuzi wa kina na rahisi kusaidia kila mtu kuweza kuelewa kile ambacho kimefanyika katika mkutano huu mkuu.
Telephone conference to electronic devices. Okay, we are Moving through. How are we starting, Brother Todd?
It's already, we had a timer, then it disappeared. So if the technical people could put that timer, and they were supposed to start that originally when I said open, but we're working at the kinks here.
They did, and they were being polite to me because they knew I was trying to read item number 3. So thank you.
So anyway, Madam Chair, the good news is that over 1,000 people have already voted. So
excellent.
We'll give them a little bit more time, though.
Okay. Let's see if we could top, well, I guess we cannot top our previous number because so many left with the nominating committee. But who knows? We can get close.
Well, people seem to be getting the hang of it, Madam Chair. We're already up to 1,200, so.
Wonderful, wonderful. And everyone is voting. As the camera sweeps across the body here, we can see the smiling faces who you are pleased with your votes, I take it.
Kuambia tu ya kwamba mkutano wa mwaka huu idadi yake ya wajumbe ilipunguzwa kutokana na changamoto ya ugonjwa wa uviko 19.
Do not doze off. We've been wondering what will happen with this 3 minutes while we're waiting, 3 minutes for all the votes to come in. That seems like an eternity when you're sitting here waiting and just looking into the faces.
Madam Chair, I thought there was a discussion about the vice presidential solos that were going to be offered during that time frame. Is that a mistake? I can't tell you, Madam Chair, we're up to 1,431.
I have a response, but you don't want that. There are a few who could do it, though. Okay, moving right along. Just over 1 minute, giving everyone an opportunity.
Hapa awali nilikujulisha na napenda kurudi tena sasa hivi ya kwamba mwenyekiti wa kikao cha hivi sasa anaitwa Ella Simon. Ni mwasaidizi wa mwenyekiti, kiongozi mkuu wa kanisa la Waadventista Wasabato ulimwenguni.
So plenty of opportunities there. And Madam Chair, we have broken 1,500.
Excellent, you did it. I know we had a few more at the end of that one, but 1,500 was our threshold. Okay, we're down to just under 30 seconds. How many more in the queue?
Well, Madam Chair, there are 65 people still voting, but they should be able to do that in about 15 seconds.
Ataendelea kupiga kura, kwa hivyo uvumilivu unahitajika kwa sababu kumbuka kuna watu wanapiga kura wakiwa nje ya ukumbi huu wa St. Louis na nje ya nchi ya Marekani kabisa. Kutokana na changamoto ya ugonjwa wa uviko baada ya idadi kupunguzwa.
All right, Madam Chair, we
are
are
at
1,551 ballots. I think we're probably getting close to
waweze kufanya hii kazi ya wajumbe wa mkutano wakiwa mbali.
All right, Madam Chair, the ballot is being closed as we speak and will be displayed as soon as it can.
Unatakiwa ili kila mmoja aweze kupiga kura yake na kufanya uamuzi kwa niaba ya wale waliomtoa. Basi matokeo ndio haya. Kwa moja za tatu, waliokubali ni watu 1,544. Sasa anasema 98.9 na waliokataa ni kura 17 ambao ni 1.1. Kwa hivyo mabadiliko hayo yatafanywa kazi sasa. Basi tunakwenda kwenye agenda nyingine. Agenda nyingine inayofuata.
Yes it is. We intentionally began with some starters, right? So we knew that I would be speaking just after lunch and that you just needed some appetizers because it's difficult to speak to people who have just eaten. You know why, Madam Chair? Because they would say yes to questions that you don't even ask, you know?
Katibu anachokisema ni kwamba kufanya kazi baada ya kuwa umekula ni changamoto sababu watu wanaweza kuitikia lakini akili zikiwa ziko kwa maana ni kwamba watu wanaweza kuwa wanasinzia.
But we will go to what the French call the plat de résistance, you know, the main course as we progress. So we don't want anyone to doze here. Are your mission glasses still on? You need to have them on. Then you will understand why we do policies and processes and protocols the way we do them. So, Madam Chair, I think the body is ready, and my sister Sherry is also ready. So we can go to this item of business. It is number 4 on your agenda list, but do not be bothered with your agenda list, because what you have on the screen is exactly what is there, and we want you to see everything. We're not hiding anything and sharing everything, because we want you to know how your church is run. Now, let's go to this. What are we doing here, Madam Chair? This amendment seeks to reflect that in an effort to be consistent with other world divisions, the Secretary of the North American Division will no longer be an Associate Secretary of the General Conference. I think this is self-explanatory. Until now, the Secretary of the North American Division, that's historical, and the Treasurer, the CFO of the North American Division, by virtue of their function, they are also an Associate Secretary of the General Conference and an Associate Treasurer of the General Conference, respectively. This recommendation seeks to bring consistency with other divisions, because secretaries and CFOs or treasurers of other 12 divisions are not associates of the GC. I have moved that one, Madam Chair.
Kwa sababu wale wengine pia si wenza as we move forward with that item. Thank you. On to the next that will be clustered with it.
Correct. There's two. The first one that I just spoke about, and the next one will be lumped together. What are we seeking to do in the second amendment? The second, not the second amendment per se, in the second item to be amended. That's an important nuance, right? What are we doing here? Before, you can scroll down. We used to call them interdivision employees. You will hear them a lot when you serve in Secretariat, and that's a free plug. When tomorrow you will hear the Secretary's report, you will hear a lot about missionaries and ISCs. So we can go back to this
division yao. Tukisema division, mpendwa mtazamaji, katika ulimwengu wa kanisa la Wasabato, division ni kanda. Mfano, mtu akiitwa kwenda kutumika magharibi mwa Afrika, ule ni ukanda mwingine. Sasa huyu anaitwa kwenda kutumika kule, hapo nyuma alikuwa akiitwa interdivision employee, lakini sasa inatakiwa ibadilishwe katika lugha ya Kiingereza aitwe international service employee. Kwa hivyo ni masuala ya lugha tu ndio yanayotakiwa kurekebishwa hapo.
Constitution and Bylaws Amendment.
Kwa hivyo sehemu zote ambazo zilikuwa zinasomeka interdivision employee zitasomeka sasa international service employee katika katiba na kanuni ndogo ndogo za kanisa la Waadventista wa Sabato. Endapo hili litapitishwa katika mkutano huu siku ya leo.
Excellent. So, Sherry, you are following me, right? I will follow you. So we are indeed, okay, here we are. Thank you kindly. Here we are. So we have just talked about the Secretary of the North American Division. We have deleted that section on line 26 and 27. Now, what are we doing when it comes to the international service employees? What we have done. So somewhere in November 2015, we changed the nomenclature, the terminology from interdivision employees to international service employees. We now call them, instead of IDE, ISE. So this recommendation seeks to harmonize our working policy that already talks about ISE with our governing document, which is the Constitution and Bylaws. Both documents can allude to
hapo nyuma. Sasa leo sababu mkutano ndio una mamlaka ya kuidhinisha, basi tunapaswa kuidhinisha mabadiliko ya matumizi ya maneno hayo ili yaweze kukubalika rasmi. Kwa hivyo upigaji kura unakwenda kufanyika kwa hayo mawili: kumwondoa au kumwondolea katibu mkuu wa division ya Amerika ya Kaskazini hadhi ya kuwa katibu mwenza wa katibu wa kanisa ulimwenguni, kwa sababu tu ni kwamba wenzake katika kanda nyingine hawana hadhi hiyo. Hiyo ndio kwanza. La pili ni kubadilisha tu maneno katika sera na miongozo ya kanisa. Kuna mjumbe anataka kuchangia.
And it's Dalisa.
Dalisa, thank you. I appreciate it.
Dalisa Flaviano.
I would like to request clarification or further clarification into the rationale of these amendments. Number one, what does it mean in the effort to be consistent versus what would be conceived as equally fair or just? Number two, by replacing the name of interdivision employees with international service employees, it would seem that employees within the U.S. territory will also be considered international employees. Lastly, with the deletions of lines 26, 27, it would seem that we prefer to exclude the secretary of any division, not only the North American division, from the role and responsibilities of an associate secretary of the General Conference, and along with it, a sense of inclusiveness, shared goal, unity, and spiritual mentality of one purpose and direction.
Thank you very much. We're going to turn to Secretariat, particularly to Pastor Maruben to respond to you. There is a very good reason. I've actually participated in some of the discussions. As I said, that long trail leading up to these items have been carefully prepared and rigorously tested. So as Pastor Maruben prepares to respond, you're ready. Okay.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate your question, brother. When we talk about in an effort to be consistent, we are just explaining what it means. That is, the 12 other divisions do not have their secretary who serve as an associate secretary of the General Conference. Historically, this was done because I don't want to go into too granular details, but you know, we were in the same building, it was the same, so that is why they historically, traditionally were associates of the GC. But now, as I explained, and as it is written here, we want to be consistent with other divisions. That's my first answer to the first question.
So, Pastor Hensley, you are saying that this action actually does exactly what the speaker was requesting. It brings everyone on the equal level playing field because North American Division was outside the protocol structure in which all other divisions participated for those reasons that you mentioned, but now it brings everyone into line. That is what you're saying?
Indeed. Thank you for summarizing what I said so clearly.
Okay, you were going to mention something else to the second portion of his question, comments, and then we will go to the next speaker.
Yes, the second question is, why are we removing interdivision and replacing with international service employees? We have some experts here, and if my sister Karen Porter would like to complement my response, she is free to do that. But if she decides not to do so, I will remain with my part of the answer. This is very technical as well. when someone serves from one division to another division, for example, I am from the SID, and I'm currently serving in the NAD. I am an interdivision employee. Is that clear? Now, this was causing some issues when, for example, in one continent you had 3 divisions and they were becoming like intra-division. So it was causing some confusion, and that is why the terminology international service employee, we believe, was clearer to differentiate between people serving who are serving intra-division in a division who are serving outside a division. So for us, the word international service employee is better to convey this idea. That's what the answer is, and I see my colleague giving a nod of approval to what I have just said.
Thank you very much. With that, then we're going to go to microphone number 2, Giselle. Lou, Zakabaha.
Right inflection?
Okay,
thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to inquire, where can we refer or see the entire Constitution and bylaws so we can better appreciate these amendments in the light of the Constitution and bylaws in its entirety?
You want to see these items in context within the entire Constitution?
Correct. Thank you.
Pastor?
Yes, we have the Constitution and bylaws is part of the thick GC working policy. Because I don't want to carry it around all the time, I have made a little booklet for myself. So what we can do is to ascertain that the delegates of a GC...
Thank you, Tom.
I can promise you, I don't read this every day. That's not my Bible, okay? I read my Bible, my Sabbath school study guide, and then the working policy. And by the way, I'm not a policeman. I'm a policy man, not a policeman. And that nuance is very important. So my sister, when you open the first portions of the working policy book, the first lines, you have access to the Constitution and bylaws of the General Conference as they stand, excluding these amendments because they have not yet been voted.
Ni kitabu ambacho kinaitwa Sera za Utendaji Kazi wa Kanisa. Kanisa hili linafanya kazi zake kwa kuongozwa na sera zake. Kwa hivyo ameonyesha hapo, na hizi kanuni ndogo ndogo zinazozungumzwa ni sehemu ya sera hiyo ya kanisa ulimwenguni. Mjumbe alikuwa anaomba kama inawezekana zikazalishwa pembeni, na katibu anamwambia tutafikiria kwa siku za usoni.
Yes, we don't distribute it to everybody, but if you need it, do you want us to try something? I don't know, because we want to be abundantly clear with you, yeah, right? We would not expect you to be voting on something that you don't understand. I don't know if my sister Tammy, I will test technology here. I will test technology here. If we, and this is live, so it was not, there is nothing that we had prepared. Tammy, is there a way for you to show to our esteemed delegates a place where they could access the working policy of the GC and including the Constitution and bylaws? Is there a way to do that? Sorry, I did not prepare you for that, but based on the question that we have received, thank you, we would like to share. Tammy?
The Constitution and bylaws is available on our Secretariat website, secretariat.adventist.org, and under resources, which I'm having trouble with my mouse here, sorry.
But I believe this does answer the question. And Sister Giselle has
mjumbe alikuwa anauliza iwapo wanaweza wakapata nakala ya hiyo, na anajibiwa hapa.
Okay. So we can give
kwamba anaweza akaipata katika tovuti ya makatibu wa kanisa.
And you can have access to the constitution and bylaws, the working policy, everything that we have in this big black book here.
Everything of the Constitution that we have in that big black book, right? We don't publish the working policy. Okay. Thank you very much. We need to go to microphone number 7. David Trim.
Wajumbe wanaendelea kuchangia kuhusiana na hoja ambayo iko mezani.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to help Sister Giselle and my esteemed colleague Hensley, the Constitution and bylaws is also made available in the yearbook. Yes. So if anyone has access to the yearbook, they have just the Constitution and bylaws without all the working policy.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Trim. And let us now move to microphone number 5, Jonathan Fetrick, Wisconsin Conference in North American Division.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to the issue of interdivision versus international. I believe that we should vote what is put before us because it clarifies some issues, but that in the future you might want to look at the issues created by international, as international implies a nation, and that creates a new set of issues.
Understood. Thank you very much, and we will certainly take that under advisement. Appreciate that. That's why we come together. Again, microphone number 5, Debbie Jackson, Central States Conference, North American Division. Are you running toward the microphone? Okay. That's number 6.
Basi wajumbe wanaendelea kuchangia mawazo yao kabla ya kwenda kwenye zoezi la upigaji wa kura kwa ajenda ambazo zimewekwa mbele yao.
Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. The time is yours, at least 2 minutes.
Kanisa la Waadventista wa Sabato ni kanisa ambalo linatambua ya kwamba Mungu aliumba mwanamke na mwanaume. Ndio maana unaweza kuona hata wanawake wanahusika vile vile katika mkutano mkuu kwa sababu wao pia ni waumini wa kanisa hili. Kwa hivyo jinsi yao haiwezi kubagua. Kanisa ambalo linathamini kile Mungu alichofanya pale.
Pastor Maruvan, did you hear that clearly?
Yes, I have heard that. I have taken copious note of what our sister has said, and we will study this, and we will ensure that this terminology brings clarity instead of confusion. But yes. Thank you. I have taken note of your comment, and we will
mitandao yetu ya kijamii, basi mnaweza mkaweka maoni yenu hapo pia ili tuweze kufahamu ni kwa namna gani mnabarikiwa na mkutano huu. Kama tukipata wasaa tunaweza tukawa tunasoma maoni machache kutoka kwenu.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So what we have done about the secretary, we are doing the same for the treasurer. You can read the rationale. This amendment reflects that in order, in an effort to be consistent with other divisions, the treasurer of the North American division will no longer be an associate treasurer of the General Conference. And I gave this explanation before, and I think we are all together, and I have moved this, Madam Chair.
All right. Is there support? Thank you. We hear the second. Are there questions or comments? Actually, this item was clarified previously, so I believe we can just move right to the question. Brother Todd, let us have the voting device. Let's get the election buddy devices ready to go.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. We are getting ready to open it up here. Just give it a couple
kufanyika kwa ambayo imependekezwa ili kuweza kurekebisha sehemu hizo za sera na kanuni.
Madam Chair, it is open.
Mezani kurekebisha kanuni ndogo za
Okay, use
mkutano
your 3 minutes
mkuu wa
wisely. Start
kanisa.
voting. The motion 1 to amend the General
Elia
Conference bylaws,
kwamba
Article 4, General Conference Undersecretary and Associate Secretaries as found in the session agenda with the explanation you've received.
basi kuwapunguzia mamlaka wale wa kule Amerika Kaskazini ili waweze kufanana na wenzao katika division nyingine. Na wakati huo zoezi linapoendelea upigaji wa kura, nitaomba niweze kusoma maoni ya wale ambao mnatufuatilia kupitia YouTube kwa uchache. Alfaxad Masalu kutoka Mwanza anasema anawapata vizuri sana kutokea Mwanza, Tanzania. Shija Nestori, tuko pamoja sana, Mungu awabariki. Tunashukuru pia kwa kuwa pamoja nasi, barikiwe pia, endelee pia kuombea mkutano huu muhimu sana kwa ustawi wa kazi ya Mungu duniani. Shija Nestori tena anasema ni kweli, wakati huu ni wakati wa kufanya kazi ya Mungu kwa kasi, na hasa katika kipindi cha ujumbe wa malaika watatu. Karibuni Tanzania. Basi Mungu atabariki na atatutembelea Tanzania wakati fulani huko mbeleni. Isaac Mbwilo anasema Mungu atukuzwe katika tukio hili muhimu. Mungu akubariki sana Isaac Mbwilo. Mpendwa mtazamaji, zoezi la upigaji wa kura ndilo linaloendelea hivi sasa. Kwa ajenda ambazo zimekwisha wasilishwa, ikiwa na vipengele viwili. Watu wanaendelea kupiga kura. Baada ya upigaji wa kura tutapata matokeo na tutajua itakachokuwa kimeamliwa. Wakati huu zoezi la upigaji kura linaendelea, mpendwa mtazamaji, wajumbe wa kamati ya uchaguzi tayari wako katika mahali pao wakiendelea na zoezi hilo la kuchagua, wakiendelea na zoezi hilo la uchaguzi. Basi mziki wa Mororo utaendelea kumrudisha wakati kura zikiendelea kupigwa. Mziki kwa mbali unasikia Mororo wa kupatia utulivu wa akili unapoendelea kuomba kwa ajili ya mkutano huu na kutafakari jinsi kanisa la Mungu linavyofanya kazi kwa uwazi, kwa ushirikishwaji. Unaona kabisa watu kutoka Tanzania wanakwenda kushiriki kuchagua viongozi wa kanisa ulimwenguni pamoja na watu wa ulimwengu mwingine. Katika maoni yenu YouTube, Ruben Frederick anasema Mungu awabariki, ninawafuatilia kwa makini na kwa utulivu kabisa tokea hapa Kijiji, Dar es Salaam. Mungu awabariki. Edadi Kazura anasema nipo Katoro, nafuatilia sana. Mungu awabariki sana kutoka Katoro. Na Williams TV anasema I'm getting you live from Mwanza, Tanzania. Thank you. Na Stefano Said anasema Bwana awe ndiye wa kwanza kwenye mkutano huu. Amen. Kweli Mungu awe ndiye wa kwanza. Asipokuwepo yeye, shetani anaweza akajinua. Tuendelee kuomba sana ili Mungu anapokuwa mbele, anapomwaga Roho wake Mtakatifu, basi atakayofanyika yakawe ni mapenzi yake na wala sio matakwa ya wanadamu.
Madam Chair, I think we can probably close the vote. We're up to just over 1,600.
Excellent.
Kura zinaenda kufungwa sasa.
Right, Madam Chair, it's being closed. It will display as soon as it can.
Okay.
Matokeo tutapata hivi karibuni tu. Na matokeo ni hayo kama unavyoona mpendwa mtazamaji. Wale mapendekezo ya kubadilisha vifungu hivyo vya kanuni ndogo na katiba ya kanisa hili ni watu 1563 ni sawa na 97.4. Watu 41 ambao ni sawa na 2.6 wanasema hapana. Kwa hivyo basi mapendekezo yamepita. Baada ya kupita basi nini kinachofuata? Kufuata
You can see that we have left now
pendekezo ya kurekebisha sehemu kadhaa za mwongozo wa kanisa. Ngoja tuone ni zipi hizo.
One day I was conducting a seminar and someone was seated in the front and same thing, presenting just after lunch, and the person was dozing just a little bit, so I asked the person, so what are you doing? You should wake up. And the person said, Pastor, I am praying for you. And I remembered this verse that says, and I quoted back and I said, but remember what the Bible says, you should watch and pray. You should also be watching what is happening in front of you. So this is just to be sure that you are with me
Katibu anajaribu kuwakumbusha wajumbe ambao kwa sababu ya shibe tayari wameanza kusinzia. Anatoa kisa cha mtu mmoja ambaye siku moja alikuwa akisinzia na tumuuliza vipi, akaambia ninakuombea. Akaambia lakini kumbuka hata Biblia imesema msiombe mkiwa mmelala, kaeni macho mnapoomba. Hivyo alikuwa anajaribu kuwakumbusha tu wajumbe kwamba wasilale, maana wapo kwa ajili ya kazi ya kufanya maamuzi haya makubwa muhimu mazito kuhusiana na kazi ya Mungu. Agenda namba 24 ndio ambayo inaelezwa hapo.
From the list of General Conference sponsored entities, as now Christian Record Services is sponsored by the North American Division, and this change took place at spring meeting in 2016. So you can see there is a deletion that is recommended on line 36. Thank you very much. As you scroll down here, you can see that we are deleting Christian Record Services.
Hoja inayoletwa hapo ni kuondoa kitengo cha nyaraka za Kikristo ambacho kinahusika sana na kuhudumia watu wenye changamoto ya kuona, vipofu, wale watu wanakuta nundu. Basi kitengo hicho inapendekezwa kwamba kiondolewe, kisiendelee kudhaminiwa au kuhudumiwa na General Conference, kwa sababu tayari kwa sasa kinahudumiwa na Division ya Amerika Kaskazini. Kwa hiyo pendekezo la kwanza hilo linaletwa kwa wajumbe ili waweze kufanya uamuzi wa kukubali au kukataa. Wakikubali, basi General Conference haitaendelea kuhudumia kitengo hicho kinachohudumia watu wenye changamoto ya kuona, lakini wakikubali itakuwa vinginevyo.
206. Is that where we are? Item 206?
Yes.
Okay.
They are not individual.
I think what we're trying to decide is whether we should take these items individually or move back to the practice of clustering. But in the meantime, there is someone at microphone number 1, if I can see clearly here. It even looks like someone I know, but I do not see anyone on the screen. Did you scan the badge?
He's got the badge.
I think I saw you do that.
Yeah, he's got the badge.
It's not the badge. Something's happening. Okay. We're trying to correct that. Is the microphone on?
Kanisa la Waadventista Wasabato ni kanisa ambalo lina mjali kila mtu. Ndio maana hata watu wenye ulemavu wa aina mbalimbali wanahudumiwa na kanisa hili. Mpendwa mtazamaji.
Okay. I was going to say the name did not match the face, but now we have two names. But the first person we saw standing there perhaps was someone who was waiting to speak before you came up. So shall we move to Johannes Bachmann, Berlin Central? Now everything has changed, and Reinhold Gallos is calling point of order. Is that on microphone 1? Northern Rhenish Westphalian Conference in the EUD, Inter-European Division. What is your point of order?
Excuse me,
brother?
I would like to ask you to extend the election time, as we still see problems with the VLAN, and it turns out that after 2 or 3 minutes, some more people can elect. So it is just because it's everyone at the same time.
You're trying to get us to extend the voting allocated time a little bit because we are bombarding the system, and then that slows everything down? I'm understanding you? We will give that some consideration here and see what we can do about that. If you notice, if you are really watching us, in several cases we did extend the time without making it a voted item because we could tell there were still individuals in the queue trying to get their votes in. So we are watching. If that will work for you, if you see further need, you come right back.
I saw this and I recognized it
usiku kabla hujalala, kwa sababu mkutano utakuwa ukiendelea. Omba. Zabloni Mliandingu, ninawapata vyema kabisa nikiwa hapa Kariwa SDA Church, Moshi, Tanzania. Mungu akubariki. Dami Ngoloma anasema Mungu awatangulie, ninawapata live nikiwa Nyakabindi Bariadi kule mkoani Simiyu. Mungu akubariki sana.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes. A comment, a question, and possibly a motion concerning page 2, lines 3 and 4, the definition of what a frontline denominational employee is. Now, I welcome very much the effort to clarify who frontline employees are, and so I welcome the inclusion of more than one example of what this could be. However, I believe that the wording that is suggested here excludes some people from eligibility as elected members of the committee that would otherwise be included, and that is by including the word full-time denominational employee.
I see.
I see that we have part-time pastors, at least in our field. I believe there may be part-time other employees, and I would like to see them included in their eligibility for serving on this committee if the union and the division and the individual concerned so decide. So I move to amend this to strike the words full-time and the preceding comma. Thank you.
Okay, so you have come with a motion to amend, and of course it does need a second to go forward.
Wajumbe wanaendelea kujadili na kuchangia katika hoja ambazo zimewasilishwa.
Okay, Brother Bachman, we conferred to determine. I thought I was confused, but in conferring with my colleagues here, it appears that you're ahead of the process here. We have not gotten to the section that you are addressing.
Huyo kutoka Berlin kule Jerumani alitoa hoja ambayo ilikuwa
compose
iko mbeleni
or revise on the floor,
but we
want to allow appropriate time.
Hii inatuonesha jinsi pia tulivyo katika shughuli zetu. Wakati mwingine kuna watu ambao wako wana haraka, kuna wengine wanakuwa nyuma. Utakumbuka mpendo mtazamaji, hapo nyuma kuna mtu alikuja akatoa mchango akitaka kuchangia kwenye hoja fulani ambayo tayari ilikuwa imeisha kufanywa kazi. Kwa wakati afanywa kazi alikuwa ametoka nje. Sasa huyu naye amekwenda mbele wakati bado mwenyekiti hajakiongoza kikao kufika hapo ambapo yeye amekwisha kufika. Ni vikao vinavyohitaji umakini, uangalifu wa hali ya juu sana. Vinginevyo unaweza ukajikuta unapitwa au unawapita wengine. Alafu wakifika hapo basi unaweza kukuta kwamba sawa hauko hapo tena, maana ulishawapita. Inafaa kufundisha hata sisi katika maisha yetu ya kawaida kuwa mahali unapotakiwa kuwa kwa wakati.
We're just voting on
paragraph
just that the wording that is here is different to what the motion was. We understand may be the case.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying, Brother Rodney. Did you get that? Okay, can you respond?
From Brother Rodney. This is highly technical, Brother Rodney, because what was in the motion is it mirrors the section which is in the Constitution. What we have voted is in line with what I had presented. But it is true, Rodney, in the motion, it covers the whole section in the Constitution
Nasema Mungu awe pamoja na mkutano huu huko Amerika. Tunawaombea sana sana. Mungu awe nanyi katika uchaguzi. Shukrani Siraji kutoka Mwanza, Tanzania. Mungu akubariki sana. John Makori ni kwa Tabora, Sikonge, Tanzania, na wapata mbashara. Mungu akubariki sana kutoka kwa Sikonge. Kimago TV anasema Mungu atangulie kwa kazi kuu hii ya uchaguzi wa viongozi. Mungu akubariki sana Kimago, tuendelee kuombea kanisa.
Another way to understand the question. Brother Rodney has left the microphone, but Karen, can you help us? Did you hear something different on this?
No.
On the microphone? No?
No.
Perhaps not? Okay.
We're
willing to hear if we misunderstood you, Rodney.
What I thought I understood was that there is one agenda item with 3 parts. And
the way it's structured in the book,
each part separately.
Yeah.
I think that was the confusion.
Oh, okay.
Nakumbusha tu mpendwa mtazamaji kwamba wajumbe wanapoendelea kuchakata ajenda iliyoko mezani ili hatimaye waweze kufanya uamuzi, wale wajumbe wa kamati ya uchaguzi ambayo ina wawakilishi wawili kwa haraka nimeona kutoka Tanzania, mchungaji Mkuu wa Marekani pamoja na mchungaji Gordon Lekundayo, wako mahali pao wakiendelea pia na zoezi la uchaguzi. Kwa hivyo kule kamati ya uchaguzi inaendelea na kazi, hapa wajumbe wengine wote mkutano mkuu pia wanaendelea na kazi ya kufanya marekebisho haya na yale katika kanuni, katiba na sera za kanisa la Waadventista wa Wasabato.
Where are you?
Thank you.
I think I see you there. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was also wanting to comment on that item that I think is being put off at the moment, but getting back to the issue of Adventist Review and Adventist World, my question is, what if at some point it was decided that these 2 publications would have different editors? Would we then have to come back to a general conference session to split them apart? It seems to me that if we just left this alone, it's fine for one person to be editor of both, but if we cluster them together, then we've sort of restricted our options unnecessarily, and that was my comment.
And we'll let Secretariat respond to that, but before you leave the microphone, would you like to do a commercial to show us your creation t-shirt?
Sure, yes. I am proudly a promoter of Creation Sabbath.
Yes.
And this is the Creation Sabbath shirt from last year. So, yeah.
Thank you. Secretariat will respond.
Thank you very much, Brother Tim. I can try to understand where the confusion could be coming from. On the first page, you have 4 rationales because we were dealing with 4 sections that need to be amended. I am still on the first one, where I was reading about Christian record services, so rationale 1, for first change. Then I would take you to rationale 2, clarifies that the position of the editor for Adventist Review and Adventist World is the same person. I would have explained it. Then I would have taken you to number 3, which would be the definition of frontline employee, and I would have explained it. And number 4, I would have done the same. I am still at rationale number 1, and we are still dealing with Christian record services. If it pleases the chair, now I can move to the second one, which is the second rationale, which now explains Adventist Review and Adventist World.
But before you do, we have, now this is saying number 101. Is this someone online? Would that be the reason? There we go. On somewhere it says Zoom. Okay? Yusuf Zegi, English Zoom. If I read, I see it. English Zoom, Southeast Tanzania Conference in the ECD.
Yes, msikilize mjumbe kutoka Tanzania, na mwana Yusuf Zege hapo naye anachangia hoja yake.
I think you are muted. We cannot hear you.
ambaye anahudhuria kikao hiki kwa njia ya Zoom.
Okay, try again. You have your own tech support right there with you, we see. Oh, there are two of them.
Mitambo wanamsaidia.
The things we learn about Zoom, huh?
Yeah,
Perhaps, yes, hold on just 1 second. We're going to turn to the parliamentarian who is also a technical expert on these things.
Madam Chair, I think the gentleman may have some other people in the room that have a Zoom going as well and is getting feedback. So you need to make sure that you have no one else in the room with this streaming on.
Right.
So the audio people will turn you back up once that can be accomplished. So make sure there is no other device playing this session in that same room. We saw your two friends there, so that's why you were turned off, because it was getting feedback.
I'm sure they're delegates or duly appointed tech services professionals. Okay, you ready to try it again? Brother Yusuf, Zagi?
Okay, my comment also is in the same of the frontline sentence. It has the word ETC. I just suggest that this word should be removed to avoid confusions and also to avoid rooms that people can play to add more of groups that are not intended according to the definition of the front line. That has been moved forward.
Thank you very much. Our Undersecretary has taken note of that and can respond before we go to the next speaker.
I have taken note of this, and this will be dealt with when I present the third rationale that will take us to the frontline employee.
Yes.
I have taken note of it.
Yes, all right, thank you. And also on English Zoom. Also in English Zoom, number 101, Jackson Mukali, East Central Africa Division.
Katika hoja hiyo ya tatu, neno na kadhalika liondolewe kwa sababu inaweza likatengeneza mwanya wa watu kufanya ambacho hakikusudiwa. Nasema na kadhalika, hiyo na kadhalika isiyofanuliwa inampa mtu mwanya wa kuweza kufanya chochote kile kwa mgongo wa na kadhalika. Maana hiyo na kadhalika haijulikani ni ipi. Walikuwa wanatoa angalizo. Kadhalika hii inaweza ikawa ni uchochoro wa watu kufanya mambo yao, mwanya wa watu kufanya mambo yao.
We can hear you.
Hicho ambacho ninaambacho tutakuja tukiona baadaye.
Oh, I think you have multiple devices there turned on, logged in as well.
Just give us a second. Okay. That's much better, I think. It's important that we take one item at a time because they are mutually exclusive. Thank you.
Well, I will not deem that a point of order, but rather a request for clarification on the process. Perhaps Pastor Maruban will explain again. Some of these items are related. There's interrelatedness within the documents, and he's trying to touch on the items as he goes through. And that is why we're taking time for clarification. Okay, now we have Tim Standish on microphone number 7 again. No commercial this time, just your question or comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Wakati wanapoendelea kushangia, mpendwa mtazamaji, ni rudi tena kusoma maoni yako. Baraka Gamba, Mgeta, following the meeting from Dar es Salaam International Airport in Tanzania. Mungu akubariki sana Baraka Gamba. Na Peter Kitalo anasema Mungu atangulie tupate viongozi wa cha Mungu wa kweli na wapenda haki. Amina. Na tuendelee kuomba hivyo, Mungu aweze kufanya hivyo. Geoffrey Mwakapimba, penzi ya Mungu peke yake yatimizwe. Na tuendelee kuliombea hilo, ili mapenzi ya Mungu peke yake yaweze kutimizwa.
Let us allow what we were doing before. Let us allow you to go through the
Wajumbe wanaendelea
several
kujadili
related
juu ya yale ambayo yamewasilishwa hapo mbele ya meza kabla ya kuweza kupiga kura. Na tunafurahi kuona pia wajumbe kutoka Tanzania ambao wanafuatilia. Tumeona maoni Tanzania mwenzetu hapa Yusuf Zege ambaye ni mjumbe na ameweza na kuchangia. Wabariki Tanzania.
And now let's go to
number
3. What are we doing here? We are defining the term frontline employee. Why did we have to do that? Especially when we are working on the composition of the GC Executive Committee, we needed to clarify that. We needed to define that. And you know, once you define something and you start giving an exhaustive list, you have this challenge of, will you be all-inclusive? Will you leave out one of these? So I went to the dictionary and I looked for the definition of frontline. You know what you read there? Those who are closest to the enemy. That's the definition of frontline. Those who are closest to the enemy. So this is what we are bringing to you, because this definition is needed for us to ensure that we know exactly who are those who will serve in this capacity of being front line.
Okay, continue to bring all of those items together, and then if need be, we will go back to some of the speakers if you do not clarify in the process.
Very good. So let me go. Maybe I should read that first, right? For number 3. So frontline, we are including, you can read it here online. Frontline 3. Frontline, full-time denominational employees such as Bible worker, healthcare professional, literature evangelist, teacher, etc. So we are including these lines on this section just to be sure that we have clearly explained who a frontline denominational employee is. Good. Let's go to number 4. Okay. This will conclude this part on the agenda. What is number 4 all about? Our Office of General Counsel, these are our lawyers, have expressed a need to be protected, to be safe, that we add in our governing document this section on the minutes. So I will read to you this new section. It reads, can we scroll down, please? Excellent. I'm reading from lines 14 through 18. Section 2. When it is underlined, it means it's a new section. And then we will go back to items 1, 2, 3, and 4, because I see some people who are there, and we will address these items one by one. We promise you. Yes. The new section will read, minutes of the General Conference Executive Committee, including those of Annual Council and Spring Meeting, shall be approved during a meeting of the General Conference Administrative Committee after such minutes have been distributed to the Executive Committee members at least 1 week prior to the meeting of the General Conference Administrative Committee. What I will do now, I will move this whole section, which I'm doing just now. I have moved it.
And there is support for the motion. All right, now we go back, and if there are questions or comments, we will take those, just moving through methodically. And so we go back to microphone number 7, to Tim Standish, followed by Rodney Brady on microphone number 1.
Maelekezo ndio yanatolewa katika eneo hilo. Kisha baada ya hapo wajumbe watakwenda kupiga kura wakipokea mapendekezo au kukataa mapendekezo. Kawaida katika mkutano huu na vikao hivi, maamuzi hufanywa kwa namna ya kupiga kura ya kukataa au kukubali. Huwa hoja inaletwa kwa njia ya pendekezo. Baada ya mchakato mrefu katika vikao mbalimbali vya kikanisa, basi kile ambacho kinatakiwa kufanyika huletwa kama pendekezo. Naomba ni mfano mwepesi kueleza hili ili liweze kueleweka. Kwa mfano ni hoja kama ingekuwa ni katika ngazi ya familia, najaribu kutolea mfano kwamba basi kijana anatakiwa kuoa, basi wazazi wakishafanya mchakato wote wanaweza wakaleta jina la binti kwa mtoto wa kiume kwamba tunakuletea binti fulani. Kwa hiyo wewe unatakiwa kufanya uamuzi, utasema ndio nakubali kuoa au hapana. Ukisema ndio, kesi imeisha. Ukisema hapana, maana yake ni kwamba warudi waende wakamtafute mwingine, na sio tena hapo mwanzo kusema sasa kama ni hapana, wewe unadhani tufanyeje? Hilo halipo. Kwa hivyo katika mkutano huu na vikao hivi vya kanisa, ajenda huwa inaletwa kwa mtindo wa pendekezo. Pendekezo likubaliwe au likataliwe. Likikubalika limepita, likikataliwa litaenda kurudi na kupangwa upya na kujadiliwa tena ili lije hapo baadaye. Likikataliwa haliwezi kuanza kujadiliwa tena hapo kwamba tunadhani kwa sababu tumekataa kufanya hivi. Hapana. Kwa hivyo kwa kile kinacholetwa hapa, ndio maana utaona kwamba upigaji kura ni ndio, hapana, ndio, hapana. Na hadi sasa yapo wengine ambao tumeona kwamba jibu limekuwa ni hapana. Wale ambao jibu limekuwa ni hapana hawajasema watarudi tena kwenda kuyafikiria.
We know what problems commas can cause when they're in the wrong spot. I want to speak to section 2, and I think it's right that we do need to approve our minutes promptly. Sometimes we don't do them as quick as what we should. I am questioning whether this should be in our constitution. I'm actually speaking against it going in there. The way that committees are responsible for themselves to approve their minutes and the process for approving the minutes. And it is in order for the executive committee, if it wants ADCOM to approve the minutes, it could be done by way of the terms of reference. And ADCOM can approve it on its behalf. Putting it this way here is actually quite a substantial shift because you're taking away from the executive committee the authority to approve or amend minutes if there is even a disagreement with what ADCOM had allowed through as a final motion with no recourse. We say that they are being distributed a week before, but we don't say if there's a disagreement with what the final version that was voted by ADCOM to sign off on, because what we're doing is we're saying ADCOM becomes the final determinant of the approval of the minutes and not the executive committee, and that is a shift, and there's no resolution to that. So in that there's that nuance of the shift and the approval, I would be suggesting that this remain as a terms of reference within it, and this is not a constitutional thing because we're actually taking away authority from the executive committee to be responsible for its final action. So I'd like to speak against that.
Okay, thank you, Brother Brady. And we'll have an observation from OGC. Our parliamentarian is shifting just a little bit and perhaps can comment.
Indeed, when this was introduced, I explained to you that this was a recommendation from our OGC because, unlike what Brother Rodney is suggesting, this is to protect and to keep us safe. So because this came from OGC, I will invite our parliamentarian to expand on this, please.
Thank you. I'm speaking from here because this is not in my role as parliamentarian. I please ask the body's indulgence. Normally, parliamentarians shouldn't weigh in on items, but I'm also where the head of Office of General Counsel. Unfortunately, the other OGC members who would address this are with nominating committee helping get them started. The rationale behind this is that currently the executive committee minutes are not approved at all, right? Annual council meets once a year, spring meeting once a year. Well, there are a handful of executive committee meetings in the interim, they're for limited items. So the idea here was to empower a minutes committee, which is a very standard approach in parliamentary procedure. Remember, everyone on ADCOM is a member of the General Conference Executive Committee, I believe, and Tammy can shake, she's shaking, telling me yes. So if there was a concern or whatever, the idea would be that executive committee members would raise that with ADCOM. The executive committee would still retain its authority to decide things. So if someone disagreed with it, they could always put that on the agenda for next year's annual council. And of course, if there was a misunderstanding, the executive committee could say, no, you were wrong, and clarify that. But this is to empower them, and it was felt that it needed to be in the Constitution and bylaws to give them that power to do the minutes, as opposed to just being a terms of reference. So that was the rationale, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Now we have, I believe Rodney Brady is complete on number 1, but also on microphone number 1, Hilde Huru, North Norway Conference in the Trans-European Division. Okay, please.
Yes, thank you. Now the previous speaker raised the same issue that I wanted to raise, and though you have already answered this, I think this is still important. And I think we should have changed the wording, and I wanted to make a motion how we can change maybe from distributed to somehow include, also being approved by these members of the executive committee.
Okay, Sister Hilde, we will receive from you your suggestions or recommendations that can be taken back into Secretariat, perhaps even reviewed in Steering Committee if we wanted to turn it around quickly and bring it back perhaps tomorrow. But at this point, we will not be composing on the floor. I do want to remind everyone that all of these documents are really living documents, and sometimes the concerns that come up on the floor of the GC session have always been there or have never been there. But suddenly, when we're here together and looking at these, something looks different, or maybe is nuanced a little differently. And so, actually, many of the changes that you see come here have begun, have had their birth at the session with someone making a suggestion or recommendation. Those are taken back and studied, tested with other documents and so forth, and then they make their way back through the system. But if you would get your thoughts, your ideas to Secretariat, perhaps that would be the best way to address that today. Thank you very much. Microphone number 8. Lagos Mainland Conference in the West Central Africa Division.
Yes, Madam Chair.
And please, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. I see someone at microphone number 2. I just want you to know that you've been standing there a while, but your registry has not shown up on the screen, so we may want to double check that. Going back to Brother Paul. WAD.
Madam Chair, 2 suggestions. On the issue of frontline, the word frontline, I suggest that that word should be deleted. When you delete it, the paragraph will become consistent on itself. If you retain the word frontline, you will have to create an interpretation subsection, and that will create more challenge for that section. So I recommend that the word frontline should be deleted. Once you delete it, most of the controversies will be gone. Again, when on the section on minutes, I do not think it should be part of the policy document of the church. So it should be an administrative thing that the executive committee should deal with. I then suggest that that section, that paragraph should be deleted entirely. We can't be debating a provision on minutes in the working policy of the church. Minutes, the executive committee should be able to regulate itself in terms of its minutes. I'm saying that because the delegates seated here do not attend the meetings of the General Conference Executive Committee. How would they make laws or rules that will guide the Executive Committee? Thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right. Pastor, if do you want to comment on that one?
No, we have taken note of
okay, you've taken note of that,
yes,
along with others. So I do see number 2 on there now, but first we're going to Spanish Zoom, number 103, Armando Mariega, Caribbean Colombian Conference Inter-American Division. Yes, we see you. Please unmute if you have not, and you may speak. Your time is now.
Sí, buenas tardes, mis apreciados. Bueno, todas las aclaraciones que se han hecho sobre algunos puntos que hemos votado, está claro, pero bueno, lo que pasa es que tenía en mente...
brother, may I stop you for 1 second? It's not your problem. I want to be sure that the translators are prepared. Okay, I saw someone, but I heard something behind me. Please continue.
Sí, un punto sobre
si puede hablar un poquito más lento para que le pueda traducir, por favor. Gracias.
Okay. Esta expresión allí, en línea de enfrente,
Talking
no sé,
about the frontline statement.
Sí, la veo como de guerra, de batalla, algo así.
It feels like war.
Sí, entonces, sí, también estaría sugiriendo que no sé si la podemos cambiar. Y lo otro
Thinking if
es
we can change that. And another point is
una pregunta sobre ese ministerio de servicio que
question
estaría,
about this ministry of service.
La asociación norteamericana, ¿me podrían hacer claridad sobre ese punto allí?
I would like for the North American, la división norteamericana dijo.
Sí, exactamente.
The North American Division, if the North American Division can clarify this point.
Correcto, sobre ese ministerio de servicio y qué repercusiones tiene eso que ya no lo patrocina.
Of this ministry, which I think he's referring to the one that was eliminated. I forgot this moment which one it was.
Christian Records.
Christian Records. And if it can be clarified, why was that ministry taken out from the umbrella, from the
Sí, que ya no lo patrocina la Asociación General, sino que lo estaría auspiciando la norteamericana.
Which now the General Conference would not be supporting it, but our North American Division.
Okay, muchas gracias.
Thank you. Muchas gracias, my brother. De nada. The response will not come from North American Division, of course, but rather from Secretariat, if you can say a word on that. I think it's just, there's some, apparently some legal issues as well, but we're having our parliamentarian change hats again.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The reason for that was because Christian Record Services primarily services the North American division. There were also some financial components there, and restructuring was done at the same time. But there was a reevaluation of this ministry and what it served and where it most best could relate. Remember, when all of these ministries were originally created, there was no North American division. Everything was in the General Conference by default. And so the leadership felt that's not to minimize in any way the work of CRS, but it was felt that it best belonged there because of what it primarily serves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Todd. Is there anything else to add to that one? Shall we go to the next speaker? Okay, on microphone number 1, Nicholas Rontanen, Finland Union of Churches Conference, Trans-European Division.
Kile kipo haswa kwa ajili ya watu wa kaskazini. Lakini hapo awali kama ilivyokuwa imesema kwamba kwa sababu General Conference pamoja na Division walikuwa kwa pamoja, kwa hivyo inaonekana vitu vingi ni vya pamoja. Na sasa kwa kuwa walikuwa kutengana, kila mmoja yuko mahali pake, basi inaonekana ni ishara kitengo kile kabaki katika Division ya Amerika Kaskazini, na kwa hivyo tunaendelea kupata fadhili.
So unless it's defined, it's quite unclear what it means.
Thank you. Understood.
Yes, and I believe a previous speaker made the same comment, and we have taken note here. We will restudy the inclusion of the word full-time. We had taken note previously of that. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we can go to microphone number 2, and I believe Norbert Zenz has just gotten tired. You made it through. There is something in the system that has targeted you and has pushed your name down. And so we think we can get you up there now. Norbert Zenz, Inter-European Division.
Perfectly fine, Madam Chair. I want to come back to this issue of our approval of the minutes. I appreciate the comments of the OGC regarding that there should be something that the Executive Committee minutes should be approved. But I believe from a government perspective that the minutes should be approved by the committee itself, by the Executive Committee. Actually, the Executive Committee is meeting almost every 2 months, at least every 3 months. So it would be no problem for the Executive Committee to approve their own minutes.
Okay, we have taken note of this.
Thank you very much. Yes. And thank you for your patience as well. All right, we're going to microphone number 5, Manla Sebantwini Lupandwana, Southern Africa Union Conference in the Southern Africa Indian Ocean Division. SID.
Thank you, Chair.
Microphone 5. I
Thank
see
you.
Yes.
I appreciate first on the section B on elected members, the fact that we have given examples of people who are frontline or whatever word we use that could be elected, because it broadens the categories. We usually run the risk of falling to the temptation of simply electing pastors who are frontline, or sometimes simply elect educators. But I think coming up with a list of other categories that could be elected is good. And I would support retaining ETC, because in different parts of the world, they may have other types of workers who are not on the list. And I wouldn't want us to think that the list was intended to be exhaustive. So I would support retaining ETC and coming up with the examples. On section 2, I also would like to speak against the inclusion of that entire section. It's more of an operational thing. I understand the concern of the Office of the General Counsel. However, I think that now that we have moved into the space of electronic meetings, that the General Conference Executive Committee can find a way of approving its own minutes electronically without having to wait for the next spring council or annual council. I don't think it should be in the constitution and bylaws, because that way it locks it in and takes away from the executive committee the prerogative to decide how their own minutes can be approved. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. And now on English Zoom, number 101, Nuruddin Agba Bialka, Ando Mission, West Central Africa Division. And we have 3 other speakers on this. We will take no more on this at the moment. I believe we're going to have to make a ruling and decide what we're going to do.
Kanisa hili lilivyo la kiulimwengu na lilivyo na ushirikishi mpana wa watu katika kufanya uamuzi. Unaweza kuona jinsi ambavyo watu kutoka pande mbalimbali za dunia wanapata fursa ya kuweza kushiriki katika kufanya
we can hear you at first, but now we cannot. Perhaps you went on mute. Sometimes that happens.
Kanisa la pekee kabisa, na kama unavyoweza kuona mkutano huu
I think we've lost you altogether. Maybe you can get back in the queue. We will come back to you if we
jambo ambalo si rahisi kulikuta katika madhehebu mengine. Kwa Waadventista Wasabato wanaamini kwamba hakuna siri, na ndio maana
Microphone number 2. I don't see you standing there.
Kila mshiriki apate nafasi ya kuona jinsi kanisa lake linavyofanya uamuzi. Na Mungu ashukuru kwa teknolojia hii.
Yes.
Just
a
commendation and a clarification. I want to thank you for explaining to us what frontline workers are really, because I remember our leaders not clear on this, and it was often referred to as exclusive to pastoral workers. Now we know it's not. I just wanted clarity on teacher, the word teacher used there. Is it a reference to only Bible teachers, or could it be inclusive of any institutional teacher? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. They've taken note. That will be included. And we almost saw Brother Nuruddin at the top, but he's not coming back on. I think there's some technical difficulties.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, yes, please.
All right, thank you. It's on the front line denominational employee that has now been spelled out as frontline full-time workers with examples. I agree with the delegate who suggested that that word frontline need be removed if it's causing so much debate. But I think the point that the document is trying to make is that that position is for denominational employees. That should not be overlooked. That is what is being explained. And so maybe it could have read denominational employees such as then all these debates might not arise. That is one. For those who want the laity to be included, I think it is divine, led by the Spirit to suggest that it should be denominational employees because they are more responsible to the mission and the organization of the church and would not for any reason want to wrong because they understand the mission better. They have no other thing they are doing than the work of the church. For laity, they have other things to do that might not give them enough time for the mission of the church. Laity are wonderful people. They are trying their best in their own way, but still, it is better to leave it at denominational employees who are full-time workers, 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Just as your time ran out, okay? You've taken note of that. Then we go to English Zoom again. Number 101, Talisha Williams, Guyana Conference, Inter-American Division. May we hear from you, sister?
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My comment is related to the Christian Record Services. It is my understanding that Christian Record Services serve persons who are blind and empower them so that, they're not excluded from the reach of the gospel, whether receiving it or sharing it.
Kumbuka mpendwa mtazamaji, wakati huu wajumbe wanapoendelea kuchangia, ujumbe wa kamati ile ya uchaguzi wao wanaendelea na zoezi la uchaguzi katika chumba ambacho kimetengwa maalum kwa zoezi hilo. Baadaye watakuja na kutoa mrejesho kwa kamati au kwa umati huu wa wajumbe wote kwa ujumla juu ya kile ambacho wamefanya wakiwa kule ndani. Na tunaendelea hivi sasa, ukiwa ndo unajiunga nasi.
Thank you, Sister Talisha. And we will have our parliamentarian change hats again and speak to us from the Office of General Counsel.
Ya vipengele kadhaa
Just before he speaks, I can tell you that this is not what it means.
Yes.
When I was the Sabbath School Personal Ministries Director of the SID, we were intentional in ensuring that people, even from our division, could get materials from the Christian Record Services. So this is not the intention of the policy of this amendment, to have Christian Record Services serving only the North American division. It's an organization sponsored by the North American division, but that's not the intention.
Katibu anajaribu kuweka sawa ufafanuzi kwa sababu kuna baadhi ya wajumbe wameona kwamba kitendo cha kuondoa ile taasisi inayohudumia watu wenye changamoto ya uoni viziwi, kuiondoa katika ngazi hii kuu ya kanisa ulimwenguni na General Conference kutoka katika division ya Amerika Kaskazini utaifanya taasisi ile siweze kuhudumia maeneo mengine, lakini katibu anasema hapana, inapelekwa kule tu kuhudumiwa kifedha, lakini yenyewe haizuiwi kuhudumia maeneo mengine ya kanisa. Kwa maana hiyo ni kwamba itakuwa ikihudumiwa kifedha na division ya Amerika Kaskazini, lakini yenyewe katika kwenda kwa kikazi inaweza ikavuka mipaka na kuhudumia division nyingine pia.
Then it should not receive the representation as a GC institution. So the question here is not whether or not it's a General Conference sponsored in North American. That's already been decided. The question really is, do you want your bylaws on representation to reflect the reality that is there? So I hope that answers the question, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Now, the chair had actually called an end to the discussion or the debate on this one, but there's no way we're going to close that without allowing the leader of the entity to speak. So we have Diane Thurber from North American Division, and then we will go back to the SID voice in Mkuu. Okay, Diane Thurber on microphone number 5.
Good afternoon. Yes, Christian Record Services is a North American Division ministry. However, we are so pleased to be able to collaborate and coordinate with the General Conference Adventist Possibility Ministries. And through that collaboration, we're able to offer services to the other divisions of the World Church. They're contracted services. Some services are available without cost. For instance, our online proprietary library. So I just invite anyone in any of the divisions to contact your Adventist Possibility Ministries coordinator to learn about the services available from Christian Record, and also visit our virtual booth at the General Conference session. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification and that assurance. All right, now we go to microphone number 5 again. Boyce, Mkizi,
tutaondolewa ufadhili ule wa GC, bado sisi tunaweza kuendelea kuhudumia.
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
And feel free to correct me if I have just slaughtered your name.
It's Mkizi.
Mkizi.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. 2 reasons that militate against the earlier submission on the administrative committee taking care of the minutes of the executive committee, and I would like to urge a reconsideration to that. Reason number 1, quickly, article number 9 of the, actually it's article number 8 of the bylaws, General Conference, section 1. During intervals between sessions of the General Conference Executive Committee is delegated the authority to act on behalf of the General Conference in session. I'm going to jump and go to the last line. The authority, therefore, of the General Conference Executive Committee is the authority of the World Church. And what that means is that authority can never be delegated, because principle number 2, in law, a body that has been vested with a delegated authority cannot further delegate that authority. And for that reason, and for those 2 reasons, rather, the proposition around the body, other than the General Conference Executive Committee taking care of a matter as serious as the determination and confirmation of the minutes, is something that will be at odds with the very bylaws that we are seeking to uphold. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
wa kanisa la Waadventista Wasabato kutokea St. Louis,
You slotted mine as well, right?
Marekani.
Thank you very much. No problem. We work together. Well, with this, the chair would turn to Secretariat and respectfully ask that you will take these items back with all of the comments. It has been noted that notes have been taken from each speaker, and Secretariat serves the church, serves the members, and is always open to hearing different perspectives and understanding in terms of what we're putting forth for World Church. We want it to be appropriately structured for the entire World Church. And so with this, Brother Hensley, would you take these items back, and we will wait to find if you can find a way to do something quickly. If not, these would have to be recycled back into the system for another complete cycle, which would be, in this case, 3 years instead of 5.
Yes,
okay.
It's a little less than 5, right?
Yeah, yes.
But Madam Chair, no, we have another plan.
Okay.
We are very happy for all that we have heard, and you rightly said we want this document to serve the mission of the church, and if it needs to be clarified, I have taken, the recording secretary has taken copious notes of what you are doing. This is what we will do. On Wednesday, whilst you will be having supper, the Constitution and Bylaws Committee will meet.
Excellent.
And we will study all the comments that you have made. You can see the notes here on the front line, on the inclusion of the new section 2 about the minutes, and we will bring to you a recommendation on the following day. So thank you very much. We will not vote it today.
That's right.
We're bringing it to our Constitution and Bylaws Committee. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
And thank you, everyone, for your comments and your wisdom and guidance and questions on these items. Now, Mr. Undersecretary, are there any other items for Constitution and Bylaws?
ili yale maoni ambayo yamechukuliwa kutoka kwa wajumbe yakafanyiwe kazi, kisha ajenda hii italetwa upya. Kwa hivyo unaweza kuona, mpendwa mtazamaji, jinsi ambavyo viongozi wa kanisa wasivyo wababe, jinsi walivyo tayari kusikiliza maoni ya wenye kanisa. Kanisa ni la Mungu kupitia sisi waumini. Kwa hivyo wameona, walileta mapendekezo viongozi, lakini wajumbe wamekuwa na mawazo ya kuboresha, lakini msingi sio ya kukataa, ni ya kuboresha. Sasa kwa sababu mawazo ya kuboresha yamekuwa ni mengi, sasa inabidi wakae tena ili kuyachukua yote na kuyaweka ili wanapoleta waweze kitu kizuri zaidi na mawazo ya wajumbe yakiwa yamo ndani. Hili ndilo kanisa la Waadventista Wasabato, kanisa lisilo la kiimla, kanisa ambalo linajali mawazo ya waumini wake.
Pastor Gerson Santos
kinachoonekana hapa
and Dr. Pastor Billy Biaggi,
ndicho kile ambacho kinapaswa katika ngazi nyingine zote za utendaji kazi wa kanisa. Na kwa hivyo ameahidi katibu ya kwamba siku ya Jumatano kamati ndogo itakaa kupitia na kuweka sawa mapendekezo, alafu kisha wanaweza wakarudi na mawazo mapya ambayo yatakabeba pia maoni ambayo yametolewa leo hii. Kama ulivyoona alikuwa akiandika
finally we are having general conference session.
Yes, that's one.
After waiting for so long, right?
Yes.
But also for this time that we'll be discussing these important items from the church manual.
Yes.
We have some slides that you can see on the screen to illustrate, to make it a little bit simpler, the recommendations from the Church Manual Committee. And I'm thankful because I have here Pastor Biaggi with me, and he's here to give us some moral support, and more than that if it's necessary. And the items that we'll be presenting starting today, I don't think we're going to finish today because there are 37 items. And we're going to
We're not trying to exhaust. We are just trying to do high-quality work this afternoon.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons we decide to have each one of those items voted separately.
Okay.
So give time for them to appreciate and vote. However, 37 items will take 3 hours just for the voting part at least.
That's true. That's true.
So we need to be conscious of that.
Yes.
So some of the items were organized in different areas. As you can see on the screen, we separate in different areas. The first one is church service and meetings. The second is pastors and elders. And I'm very happy to share this with you because as a pastor, evangelist, church planter, leader from this church, I'm so excited to see some of these items as we present to you. You will see the importance that this
ili mkutano mkuu uiangalie na ukiafiki, basi walikuwa watapokelewa na kuingia katika kanuni ya kanisa. Kwa hivyo katibu mwenza wa General Conference, kazi ya juu kabisa ya uongozi ya kanisa, hii anatoa maelekezo ya awali kwa wajumbe nini ambacho kinakusudiwa katika ajenda hii.
Of the local church ministry. So let's start with the agenda. You have here listed by numbers starting on 401, and you have the whole list on pages 20 to 22. And you see there are numbers. 401 is the first one, but the actual item has a number of 400. Why is that? Because they are coming, as it was very well explained by Elder Muruvan, as the policy reviews are made to the church, as we meet an executive committee at the General Conference, the same thing with the church manual recommendations. They come from a church manual committee. They are presented to the annual council at the end of the year, our last executive committee of the General Conference.
Katibu mwenza anajibu kueleza jinsi mchakato ulivyokuwa kuweza kuyafikia haya mapendekezo ambayo yanaletwa leo hii mbele ya mkutano mkuu wa kanisa. Na kwa kweli kimsingi ukiangalia utakuta kwamba yamepitia mchakato mrefu sana.
But in your agenda is the item 401. Let's see the first one. The title is Unauthorized Speakers. This is a church manual amendment. In the church manual, and I have mine with me,
sehemu ya kwanza katika mwongozo wa kanisa ambayo inapendekezwa kufanya marekebisho ni sehemu inayohusu wazungumzaji wasioruhusiwa ndani ya kanisa. Ni nani ambaye haruhusiwi na nani ambaye anaruhusiwa kuweza kuzungumza au kuhubiri ndani ya kanisa, kutoa hotuba ndani ya kanisa. Nani anaruhusiwa, nani asiruhusiwe. Kwa hiyo ndio sehemu ya kwanza ambayo nakwenda kufanyiwa mapendekezo.
So I'll be opening now page 53 on my agenda book. Okay. We are deleting one paragraph and revising the whole paragraph. As you can see on the screen, this is the recommendation from the church.
Katika mapendekezo ambayo yanaletwa kwa mkutano mkuu ni kwamba aya moja wapo iweze kufutwa, halafu itandikwa upya
to speak in the church and addresses the confusion caused by the implication that a lay person could not preach because they do not hold credentials. Because usually, we use credentials for the denominational worker. And this brought a little bit of confusion, so we are editing the whole paragraph as this. Authorized speakers. Only speakers worthy of confidence will be invited to the pulpit by the local church pastor in harmony with guidelines given by the conference. The local elders or church board may also invite speakers in consultation with the pastor and in harmony with conference guidelines.
na sasa itasomeka ya kwamba watu pekee ambao wanaweza kuruhusiwa kutumia mimbari zetu ni watu ambao wataalikwa na mchungaji kanisa Maria kwa kulingana na miongozo iliyotolewa na conference, na kwamba wazee wa kanisa pia au baraza kanisa linaweza pia kualika wazungumzaji kwa kushauriana na mchungaji, kwa kuzingatia miongozo ile ya conference. Watu ambao si washiriki tena au ambao wako chini ya karipio hawawezi kupewa nafasi ya kuhubiri katika mimbari zetu. Kwa hivyo itasomeka hivyo. Sasa hii si tafsiri rasmi. Nilisema hapo awali kwa mtazamaji kwamba baada ya mkutano huu mamlaka za kikanisa, kwa sababu ni masuala ya kanuni, masuala ya kisheria, zitatoa mwongozo rasmi. Hii ni tafsiri tu ya jumla. Sasa ile kanuni itakuja kutolewa na tutakuja kuiona katika mwongozo wa kanisa, lakini basi upate tu picha kwamba kipengele hicho kimerekebishwa sasa. Mchungaji wa mtaa atakuwa na mamlaka ya kusema ni nani aweze kuhubiri katika kanisa au kutoa hotuba, na atafanya kwa kuzingatia miongozo itakayokuwa imewekwa na conference. Ila pia wazee nao na baraza la kanisa wamepewa nafasi na wao ya kuweza kualika mzungumzaji, ila sharti wawasiliane na mchungaji. Na wenyewe wote hawa baraza au wazee, sharti wanapofanya hivyo wazingatie miongozo ambayo itakuwa imewekwa na conference.
Okay. Authorized by the conference.
Authorized by the conference. All right. All right. And we have number 7, microphone number 7, Tim Standish, General Conference.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My concern with this is that while it requires church boards to work with their pastor in terms of who preaches in the church, it does not require the pastor to work with the church board. It makes him only accountable, apparently, to the conference. But there must be some accountability of pastors to the local congregation that they serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That is clear. Back to microphone number 5, Mandla Sebantwini, Lupandwana, Southern Africa Union Conference in the SID. Microphone number 5? Okay.
My question is in the use of the word consultation. Consultation can sometimes be applied in this way. I told him that we are calling someone to come and preach. He may or may not have objected, it's fine, but we consulted him. It does not always require consent. My question to the committee would be, in the phrasing of the paragraph, were we looking for mere consultation, or were we hoping that it would lead to consent? I'm thinking of a situation where there is a disagreement between the local elders or the local church board and the pastor on the person being invited. Consultation would allow the elders or the church board to proceed because they have consulted. But if we were hoping that consultation also includes consent, then when there's a disagreement, that they would not proceed with that particular speaker. And if the idea was to include consent, I would suggest probably relooking the word consultation and finding one that would include the concept of consent. Thank you, Chair.
Excellent, that's clear. Before you leave the microphone, please say your very melodic, beautiful name for me.
Mandla Sebantwini.
I was close. Okay, yes. All right, thank you. I like it. All right, and now the last speaker on this item is at microphone number 3, Chalmer Giviso, South Philippine Union Conference in the Southern Asia Pacific Division. And obviously not the last, because we have another who just joined. All right.
Thank you. By the way, I just would like to point out, in the list provided as those who should not be invited, limited only to those who are no longer members and are under discipline. Based on our experience, there was a time when there was a pastor, a retired pastor actually, whose membership is from another conference, and he was already residing in our place. But because of his membership with a pyramiding scheme of which the church spoke adversely, this pastor was already antagonistic to the church, antagonistic to the leadership of the mission and of the union. But just the same, some churches still invite him, especially those who are sympathetic with that pyramiding scheme of which that pastor was a member. I would suggest that I think we should not limit only the disqualifications from speaking in our pulpit to those who are not members or those who are under discipline, but we should include even those who are not loyal to the church. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we go to the English Zoom, number 101 again. Brother Yusuf Zege, Southeast Tanzania Conference, East Central Africa Division.
Yes, I have the comment on the phrase. The word confidence is not defined well. How a person will define and measure the confidence of a person to stand before the church and preach. That is my concern. If it is well defined, it will provide a well guidance on how we can allow people to stand on the pulpit. Thank you.
You're just calling for some definition, right? Okay, thank you. And microphone number 1, Even Stefanova or Stefanova?
Stefanova, is it? The old wording very clearly makes impossible for individuals who are not members of the church to talk at the pulpit. It says strangers or any unauthorized persons. And I don't find this in the new wording. It says members who are under discipline or no longer members, but it's nothing. There is nothing about people who do not belong to the church. Is this on purpose?
Okay, thank you very much. I believe we have note of this. And we go to microphone number 5, Josiah Flores, Carolina Conference, North American Division.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My comment is just on the rationale and what the now phrasing reads. The rationale is talking about who may be invited to speak in church and addressing this confusion about credentials. However, the new paragraph seems to deal more with who has the authority to select the speakers rather than clarifying who's invited to speak. Because we now see that the wording of invited by the local church pastor, this is line 24, and then line 25, in consultation with the pastor, this wasn't in the original statement, yet it seems to be added separate from what the rationale is really stating. It's just a comment as to what rationale is saying and what we see in the new statement. I'm not sure if there's a discrepancy there that is meant to be there.
Thank you very much. And we move back to microphone number 1, Rita Meyer, Inter-European Division.
Yes, thank you. Just a little invitation. As we are speaking about guidelines by the conference, and as we have some union of churches, could we just include that somewhere also? That was just a little point.
Okay, did you get that one? Please repeat that. We were not hearing it clearly here.
Yes, I was in the text you refer to the guidelines of the conferences, but we have some union of churches, and I think we should add something here to clarify this.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Meyer. Going to microphone number 8, Armando Miranda Sr., General Conference. Number 8.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It seemed to me that it's very difficult to find place for everything that is needed. And it seemed to me that the way how it's written cover many things. For example, it says, in consultation with the pastor and also in harmony with conference guidelines. So that means that the local conference has some work to do in that direction, because there are some concerns with people who are affecting the church, just inviting those who are not appropriately, they are not confident to speak to the church. So it seems to me the way how it's written is appropriate and cover what we need.
Thank you very much, Pastor Miranda. We have 2 other speakers. These should probably be the last 2. On microphone number 4, Musa Nzumbi, Northeast Tanzania Conference, East Central Africa Division.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I have just 2 concerns. Number 1 is the explanation about the conference, that in harmony with the guideline given by the conference. Some entities that we have, there are fields which have not been qualified to be conferences. So maybe we could add the word field so that it can apply to those entities which are not conference. But also the issue of which they invited to the pulpit by the local church pastor, in harmony with the guideline given by the conference. The local elders or church board may also invite speakers in consultation with the pastor. Now, maybe here also we could expand the word pastor, maybe to be church pastor or district pastor, so that they cannot just consult with any pastor around, because we can have maybe chaplain around the church who don't hold the managerial power. Maybe we could have some retired pastors within the area, maybe who could not have some decision on the church. Maybe this word also, this title for the second sentence can be expanded so that it can be understood. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And it looks like someone else is added, so I hope no one else is being scanned. We want to allow for the scanned items to show up on the screen, but at this point there should be no more. And we would go to number 8, microphone number 8, Jeff Scroggins. Let's see, Jeff Scoggins, number 8, General Conference, and then we have one other.
Thank you. I dealt with this particular item often while I was pastoring, and I actually interpret this to be a little bit less restrictive than what we had before. So I actually appreciated the changes that were made, and I would support the way that it stands. It actually seems to give the pastor a little bit more flexibility, of course in consultation with their local conference, mission, union of churches, whatever it may be.
Thank you very much. And finally, at microphone number 5, Gloria Nutchinzini, Trans-Orange Conference, Southern Africa Indian Ocean Division.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
5. Okay.
Madam Chair, my issue is the implementation. because you find a church inviting a person.
My sister, we cannot hear you up here. It's probably no fault of yours, but I noticed the microphone is just a little high for you. Perhaps you can just speak up. It should be okay. Okay. That's good. We don't want to, okay.
Thank you, Chair. My issue is the implementation of that part, because you'll find a church inviting a person, and that person you have been having a long time without seeing him or her. Boom, the person invited to come and preach. You don't even know if he or she has taken his or own membership to somewhere else. So I think this issue is affecting the local church. And then I think if we can get help on that part.
Thank you very much. It seems that the observations are somewhat balanced, and maybe, I don't want to say canceling each other out, but balancing each other. And I'm wondering if you want to go to the question on this one? Call the question, okay. Then we're going to go to our voting ballot, to election buddy. Please open.
All right, Madam Chair, we will be opening this here momentarily, so just the same process as before. Please make sure to hit submit, and it will be opened up here momentarily, Madam Chair.
Okay. And
it's open, Madam Chair. People should be able to vote.
Here we go. Okay, get those devices working. You have done so well, exceptionally well with Election Buddy this afternoon. Let's keep our great record going. And I do not see the motion on the screen, so I am not repeating it for you as I have tried to do.
This is, we're voting on, 401 on the main motion.
Yes.
This is the vote on the main motion.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for the music.
Madam Chair, people are voting. We're up to 847.
Okay, very good. Excellent start. And we are voting on the motion to amend the Church Manual, Chapter 10, Services and Other Meetings, pages 120 to 121, unauthorized speakers, as found in the session agenda. Item number 401, remember there was a reference to 400 in its designation, and that is found on pages 53, 54, and 55, it appears. Maybe. Are we moving along? They're mounting up?
Madam Chair, we're moving along quite nicely. We just crossed over 1,200.
Excellent. Remember, we had a request to watch for the numbers in the queue and to allow a little additional time for those who are getting caught in the traffic jam, the electronic traffic jam.
And Madam Chair, we are keeping an eye on that. I will tell you from experience, we will be here until supper if we waited till every single person is not in the queue, because it does tend to refresh itself, but we do try to make sure that that the vast majority of people have been able to, well, everyone has had the ability to vote, that everyone has actually voted.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, I can tell you 1,370 have successfully completed that.
Excellent. It's okay. Okay, a few more minutes. Well, not a few more minutes. I guess several more seconds would be more accurate, right?
All right, Madam Chair, we are at 1,430.
1430. How many in the queue?
There are still 58 in the queue. 49 in the queue.
Okay.
But again, we really can't wait till that goes down to zero, or
Yes,
we will be here.
Because the queue keeps mounting.
Right.
Queue. Okay. It looks like we are just about ready to close it.
Very well, Madam Chair. We are at 1459.
Oh, so close. But it's good. We're ready to close. It's good.
All right, Madam Chair, we're closing it, and it'll take it just a couple of seconds for EB to display it on the screen there. 1,473 total ballots.
Excellent. All right. This item requires only a simple majority, whereas the Constitution and bylaws items required 2/3, by the way of which we got well over 2/3 for each item. But with this, we have almost 91% in favor with 1,336 votes yes, and 137 votes no, which is just a little more than 9%. So this carries. Thank you very much. It's carried. We're going to the next item. How about that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The item number 402. As you can see on the screen, it's listed as 403-22. And I believe you, Madam Chair, will be very happy to see this because we are trying to facilitate the work of the school board. The rationale behind this recommendation is that it removes the confusing term union school board and replaces it with multi-constituent school board to be more consistent with the rest of the section. So as you can see on the screen, you have the item presented there. And let me show the next slide. Where the change is, you can see the word union be crossed out, and then you have multi-constituent. We don't want to have a confusion with the Union Board of Education or something like that. As I believe you understand, what we're trying to do here is to clarify when you have more than one church sponsoring the school, so we have a multi-constituent school board. I move, Mrs. Chair, that we accept this recommendation.
All right, is there a second? Thank you. I want to be sure I'm hearing a second actually and not my echo. Okay. Does multi-constituent translate neatly in most languages, or do you need to give a word of clarification?
At least the languages that I can read.
So Spanish and Portuguese, huh?
Would be easily translated.
Okay, okay. But we're just simply saying more than one constituent body serving the school, right?
But that will be up for those translating the church manual in their own language.
Yes, that's what we want to hear. Okay. Thank you so much. We have the motion. We have a second. And we are looking to see movement at the microphones. Okay, whenever I see someone move, I think they're coming to the microphones. There are none, so we're going to the question. Brother Todd, let's have Election Buddy up and going.
All right, Madam Chair. We are opening it up. It's good to see. We want discussion, but if we spend as much time on the last ones we did everyone, well,
we're good.
It'd be hard. So, Madam Chair, it's opening up here shortly.
Okay. Get those devices ready, and if you are in favor of, if you support, you are saying yes to this motion to amend the church manual, Chapter 8, Local Church Officers and Organizations, pages 90 to 92, Church School Board as found in the session agenda and explained here.
And Madam Chair, it is open for voting.
All right. And our music didn't start spontaneously. Are we starting strong?
Well, that's a good question. Hold on. It's just take me a second. We are starting strong. 997.
Excellent.
Refresh. 1,035. We're doing well, Madam Chair.
Okay. Okay. Moving through nicely. I know I'm not a prophet, but I believe we're going to hear music in just a second. Oh, there it is.
The 1,280 people who voted can enjoy it while the rest of them continue to vote.
Are struggling. Okay. Are there many in the queue?
Not that many, only 90, so we need to give another minute and a half here, but
yes.
We're doing well. 1,347.
Okay. We will allow the time on this one. We're down to 1 minute.
And Madam Chair, we're down to 1 minute, and we're up to 1,437.
Excellent. Please vote on the church manual item. We're winding down, nearing 25 seconds.
And we are getting up to 1,473 cast ballots.
Okay.
Hopefully we can get over 1,500.
I'd like to see that. Well, the time has expired. Where are we in terms of the queue?
Madam Chair, we're at 1,489.
And who's in the queue, or how many are in the queue?
About 40, hold on, I will tell you, 41.
Maybe if we refresh, we'll get that 11.
Let's see here. We are over 1,500 now, Madam
There we
Chair.
go. Okay, let's close it.
All right, we're closing it, and we will display it as soon as it's ready.
Okay, we have 99, little more than 99% at 1,502 votes for yes and 9 no votes. So it is carried. Thank you. Brother Justin, maybe we can pick up a little steam with a few of these.
It looks like we can
see
move
if we
faster
can do
now.
that. We're ready. We're ready to go.
All right, the next item is number 403. But you can see on the screen, it's number 404-22 because of where they come from. And this item is just to be consistent throughout the church manual. We've been using 2 ways to describe the baptismal ceremony or baptismal service. So the recommendation is for us to be consistent. The recommendation is to approve a directive to amend the church manual where appropriate by replacing baptismal ceremony with baptismal service. In areas, this is very important, in areas of the world where baptismal ceremony is preferred, due to differences in other languages, baptismal ceremony may be retained as long as the term is used consistently throughout the text of the church manual. In other words, Mrs. Chair, Madam Chair, we expect the church manual to be consistent in any language that is presented.
Yes.
So I move, Madam Chair, we accept this recommendation.
All right. Is there a second for this motion? Second, we've heard. Scanning, looking for movement toward microphones. Seeing none, I think you're ready for the question on this. Let's go to Election Buddy.
All right, Madam Chair, it's being opened up as we speak.
Okay. Please get those devices working. Vote yes if you want to approve a directive to amend the church manual where appropriate by replacing baptismal ceremony with baptismal service.
Madam
In
Chair.
areas of the world where baptismal ceremony is preferred due to differences in other languages, baptismal ceremony may be retained as long as the term is used consistently throughout the text of the church manual. Yes.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No
it is open, and people should be able to vote.
Excellent. Let's move on this one. Let's see if we can get those votes up quickly. And the music is beautiful again.
And Madam Chair, 991 people have voted.
Excellent. And that's with 2 minutes, 40 seconds left.
Hey, you guys are having too much fun down there. Madam Chair, with only a little over 30 seconds, we've got 1,204 votes.
This is excellent.
Madam Chair, with just under 2 minutes left, we have 1,386 votes.
Okay.
Still a number of people trying to vote, so.
Excellent. We can get there. And let's see here. I'm looking at the time. You know, it's amazing how time gets by when you're having fun. And I assume we were having fun this afternoon, right? We are right at 5:20. So we have only, well, we have less than 10 minutes because we will at least close with prayer. We want a minute or two for that. So we'll try to get maybe a couple more in if we can do them.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Madam Chair, with just under a minute left, we have 1,461 voters, so we should be able to get over our normal 1,500 threshold and probably beat that.
All right. All right. 25 seconds.
1,478, Madam Chair.
We're going to get there.
Madam Chair, we are just about done. We are at 1,495. I know we can get 1,500.
The time is gone. When we hit 15, let's close it out.
It's over 1,500, Madam Chair.
Let's close it out.
All right, Madam Chair, it's being closed out and it will display as soon as it's available.
Okay, here we are, 97.9%.